And I'm not sure who everybody is yet, but we're going to let some people get into the chat here while we wait to go into a thrift store here. I think we're going to have a car start next to us too, so there might be a bit of noise for a second. But we are at a very special thrift store. It is a practically brand new thrift store, which is exciting because new thrift stores often are places that have overlooked bargains. But this one, the people are a little more knowledgeable perhaps than the average thrift. It is a thrift store that also has a boutique aspect to it. And you see that with thrift stores sometimes. I've even seen Goodwills or in Salvation Armies where they have a boutique area where they put the things that are a little more special, but they still are priced reasonably. And so I'm excited to be shopping here. I'm also excited to be showing this because this happens to be a new store owned and run by a YouTuber who you will recognize when we get in there. This is Good Stuff Thrift Store. And we are in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to pull out so you can see the sign up on the top there, the temporary banner. They still don't have their big sign in here. But part of what makes this place a little more unusual is that you'll see on the sign here, they have some kind of illustrious people who are part of this. And you'll recognize some of these names because we are in the store owned by Danny, the niche lady, and she is the owner and operator. Thrifting Vegas, Tiffany is here. We just met Sunny from Sunny Las Vegas. Mikey Bags of Money is here. Crystal Van Ho is here. So we get to see the kinds of things that they bring in to sell too. And we're going to go in and take a look right now. I think you're going to have fun. We certainly are. So let me get the door for our cameraman here. And in we go. All right. So we're going in past the foyer here, and you see on the right side that they have Christmas stuff. This is all on sale right now, but this is the current display. And I noticed that they do have some Department 56 in here still, which at 25% off surprises me a little bit because we just had a big estate sale. You might have seen my video in Seattle where we were selling pieces like this for as much as they have on it here, especially with the discount. So I already see some things that might be some deals. I also already see somebody who is familiar coming. We're all walking backwards today, aren't we? Hello there.
So they didn't know who was here, and I just told him I got a surprise guest here today.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, look at everybody's like, George and Zeno. Zeno's here. So we got our tech crews here today too.
Yes, it's all sort of meta, yes.
Yes, we're filming and being filmed.
We are live on 2 channels right now. We're live on the Antique Nomad and we're live on the Niche Lady, and we are having a great time, and I am so excited to be here. And how are we going to do this? Are you going to show me around the store, or am I going to just shop it like I would? Or
we just like to eavesdrop a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then we'll go up there and do some stuff because I mean, I have some stuff that I'm really anxious for you to see.
Cool.
I actually have something stockpiled in my office.
Oh.
That I'm anxious for you to give a look at.
Oh, okay. That's great. Well,
so if anybody doesn't know who George is the Antique Nomad. I call him a walking encyclopedia because he has the best backgrounds on stuff. He doesn't just know what stuff is. He knows why stuff is. And I will just say that I had the tremendous pleasure of getting to go to an antique mall with him yesterday and shop and listen and ask questions. And so I'm really, really excited to have him here at the Good Stuff Thrift Store to kind of go through things, because for those that don't know, my stage area is all the items that I had curated for antique malls in the area that I closed down, and I brought everything here. So I'm excited to have him go take a look at what I've stockpiled over time and look at my pricing a little bit.
And I'm excited because we had a great day at the Antique Mall yesterday. You will be seeing video on my main channel and of course on the Niche Lady and on Thrifting Vegas because she was with us.
Tiffany shopped with us too.
Yes, we had a great time. In fact, we were there for hours and we closed the place down. So there'll be some good video coming out of that. But I saw when you did a walk around here, and there are a few things that I need to see if they're still here because I have a little little mental list of things I need to buy while I'm here.
Well,
So,
where would you like to go first? Let's go
well,
with that.
let's start in this little
Oh,
corner here
crystal
because
room.
this is Crystal, and she's one of the YouTubers who is selling in this place.
She's actually not on YouTube.
Oh,
She's on Instagram. That's
Instagram.
her. That's her
Okay,
thing.
that's why.
I know the thing is a little confusing, but if anybody types in the @Crystal Van Ho, they'll find her. Oh, thank you. But I can't watch the chat. Then
Why
if
don't
you
you
do
have
that.
a tripod?
You mean one of those things I hold like this?
Or just a tripod?
But I don't know if
Just
they can
stand in
hear
front
me
of
if I get too far away too.
So, folks
Gotta
on
grab
my
the
channel, we're going to
microphone.
sneak in here really quickly because there is something that I saw on her video that I am really excited about because I'm getting ready for my Florida season and it's still here, and I'm so happy about that. It is this 1950s, and this is what they called fumigated oak. This is actually made of oak, and they would do the blackening of it, and that's the fumigation. So that's why it has that black color, but you can see the oak grain on the back. And then they were screen painted. These were very big in the 1950s, late 50s, early 60s. You'll see furniture made like this too. And they've got a price of $30 on it. But one thing I noted is that if I make a donation, I get 10% off. So I might just have to find something in the car to bring in here to get a little discount on this. But I am so happy this is still here, and I'm going to take it.
Isn't it fantastic?
It's wonderful. Yeah, I just always have liked these, and I haven't had one for a while. I've got one in my own collection at home,
Okay.
and
okay.
so I will take another one to Florida where it
Excellent.
belongs. They will fly away.
Yeah,
And
I have actually bought several of Crystal's little assemblage thing because they're amazing.
yeah, she does a lot of work on this. I mean, look at this with all the bottle brush trees and everything, and that's really fun. But she's got a lot of fun things. I mean, first of all, this is so funny. I don't know why. I'm not really a cook at all, but
Me
I
neither.
love old, yeah, but I love old kitchen appliances. And this is Ward's from about 1970s. But look at how happy all these different colors are.
Oh, I never noticed
I
that.
never noticed that either, and that's actually really fun. And she's got, we'll move the Pyrex here.
1999.
1999. That is not a bad price.
Now, did you
Montgomery Wards,
Did
yes.
you see her jewelry? This is her specialty.
Oh,
She takes the broken Pyrex and she makes fabulous pieces of jewelry out of it. So there's no crying about the Pyrex going to the landfill.
oh, that's great. You know, I really approve of anybody who repurposes something that otherwise would be destroyed. I think that is the stuff to repurpose because, you know, if it's a good original, you want to keep it as such. But otherwise,
Now, she has a little sign here because she's had people upset, that she's making the jewelry. And she says, I don't break it. I just make it.
I just make it. Exactly. That's really smart of her. Now, this is like a plastic snail. That's sort of a crazy thing. That's actually really fun. That's something out of the 70s, and I have not
cool.
seen one before. Let's see what else here. Oh, she's got the pink crinoline. I've always liked that pattern. Oh, and treasure craft. I am expecting to see some treasure craft
Yes,
because it was really distributed a lot in this part of the country, being from not too far away. So we have the pineapple here, and we were shopping yesterday, and I was mentioning that the way they did these glazes is they actually had the different colors in ketchup bottles, and they would squirt them around the edges over the other colors, and then when they put it in the kiln, it would all melt into this interesting little whatever sort of swirl it came out with. And I just thought that was a very clever thing of them to do. And she's got $19.99. That's not a bad price on that, actually. And she's also got the fish, yes. Yes, I just bought the Ubangi of this lately. Now, this one has an interesting thing on it. I'm sort of acing out my own. Eventually, I'm going to do a treasure craft special and talk all about what they did. But notice how it's white under the glaze. This is what they call efflorescence, and that happened if they were if it was humid out when they were rubbing on the glaze. Sometimes the humidity would get trapped, and eventually it would show as white in the glaze. So it's actually a factory flaw. So that's kind of an oddball thing there. And then, oh gosh, she's got mermaids. I know these are hand done, but they're very cute.
Can you see those? Oh, goodness.
Set of 3, 150. And I don't blame her. Mermaids are super hot right now. So that is actually a price I could see them selling at, but not for me. And the other thing I liked in here, this is such a fun pattern. This is Franciscan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is the picnic pattern. Whoops. Yeah, I'll leave it in there because I don't want to It's a little snug in there, but it's Picnic from the early 70s, and I just love all of those colors. You could pick any one of those out and decorate around it or do a table setting, match glass to any of those colors, linens, the whole thing. So I just think it's so much fun. So yeah, I wanted to start in here because I knew there was something I wanted right away.
See, Crystal, if you're watching, you got to come restock. We're emptying your shelves.
Yeah, we're gonna clear you out, Crystal. Yes, and these are great. They were called space shoes. The idea was that you could jump up to outer space on them, and satellite shoes. That's right.
I think some emergency rooms got some good business.
Oh, I bet a lot of kids did better on these for sure. But I think they're so much fun. If they were in my size, I'd want to use them.
That's awesome.
Oh, cool. So, wow.
Hey,
All right.
I wanted to ask you about this piece.
Oh, yeah.
Because we just came up with a price.
I like that, and I think your price is good. If it was, if it didn't have just this little mar here, I would say you could go another $20, but $60 if it's a working radio. It's a silver tone from Sears. This is 50s, and old radios are getting really hard to find. The prices have really gone up recently, actually. For years and years, this would have been like a $45, $50 radio. And now all of a sudden, 75, 85, 100 in perfect shape. So I think your price is fine, actually.
Well, and so you guys are going to be the first to know. I can't turn my camera back on. This is where Jordan can come in handy. Come here for a second.
So again, because this is boutique, we're going to see thrift store prices on some things, and we're going to see reasonable prices, and then we just have to look as a reseller and see what we can do. But I am so excited about this. I'm going to set it up at the counter.
So, Rebecca doesn't even know this yet. No, you can know. You need to know. So you're watching this video.
Okay. Now, over there in the corner, I see some things that are familiar to me as well. And particularly this guy here, Treasure Craft. You know, we're gonna find Treasure Craft because it was made in LA. So this is Treasure Craft. This is Los Angeles Potteries under here. They have quite a cat collection here. Yeah, let's open this where they can see it a little bit better. So that's an old LA Potteries piece there. And then there's this one from the 70s. This one's Japanese. So yes, cats were a big thing in late 70s, early 80s, cookie jars. And I've got some cookie jar collectors here. Zeno is very excited because yes, it's an alien and a vacuum, and Zeno's very excited because he's the vacuum cleaner collector. Not the only one, actually. Yes, that might actually have to go up on the shelf. And so she's talking a little bit about discounts and some things that she's going to be doing because she's, you know, this is a work in progress. I think she's only been open for 4 months. Is that right? 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Yeah. So this is brand spanking new. And I have to say, it's delightfully clean for a thrift store. I'm very excited about that.
So I would love your take on some of like the vintage pieces of furniture.
I really like these chairs, and I'm curious. Yeah, are they vintage or are they retro?
No, they're new, vintage inspired.
Right, vintage inspired, so retro, but they look really comfortable. And I have to say, they remind me a little bit of the Papa Bear chairs, which would be $3,000 each. So
Really?
I can see why, yeah, somebody should be excited about these. Now this is interesting to me because it's the leather top with the tooling, and sometimes these drawers are false, but this one is real, and this is, yes, and it's got old tags in it that, or at least on this side, you're going to see an old tag that says genuine mahogany.
Okay.
And that means that it is from Grand Rapids, Michigan, because they use that label. It was a big furniture production center, still is actually. They make lots of metal industrial furniture, steel cases there, but it was also a lot of the people who ended up being involved with Knoll came from there. So big furniture making tradition. These more traditional pieces, I think this is a really good time to be buying this kind of thing if you like it, because I am noticing that millennial age buyers, they are sick of, that's her, exactly, yes. And so,
you see the IKEA stuff yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. My niece is probably about your age, and she talks all the time now about, I'm so sick of my IKEA. My house looks like everyone else's house. I want something fancy. And she's looking for traditional furniture. And you can't really buy traditional furniture new. So you have to go
Have
to
get it on the
thrift
used
stores
market, yeah.
and in the used market. And so I think that's actually a great thing to have in here. And I bet it won't last long.
Well, we don't know how to price it.
Oh, well, of course, pricing is also subjective to what
Right.
you got into it, and you're selling in a thrift store environment,
Yep,
so
thrift
you
store
want to
price.
make
What
it thrift store
would you put
price.
on it?
Thrift store price, I'd say like anything up to maybe $65.
Perfect.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. Because
Love
if
it.
I was going to retail that, I mean, I would think it'd be 135
Okay. All right.
in this market, and things are going to move from there. So
we
show me
like
around.
Yeah, we like to do a little color blocking, a little. So this was kind of a thing that sprung up for me. I shop in California with my millennial daughter a lot.
That's me.
Can they hear me?
I don't know.
Let's
Can everybody
ask. Can you
hear?
guys hear me okay if she gets this far away from me?
If we're gonna do this, she should have a mic, probably.
Oh,
Unless
can we
you guys are
Or
Can
get
we clip
closer to
a-
your
Yeah,
microphone.
yeah.
'Cause
Okay,
I don't have.
we'll
yeah.
just stand really
Oh,
close
so
together.
close.
Yes. I brushed my teeth, I promise.
Me too.
Okay.
So when I'm in California shopping, the Goodwills there have these beautiful cubbies, and for my brain, it really helps me shop. I just can like focus on the different things. So that was one of the things I was like, I want to do the cubbies.
Hmm.
And then we're like, oh, and then the color blocking, and just make it like an upscale thrift store. Still thrift store pricing, but you want to feel like you could get something here and give it as a gift. We do not put out the broken and dirty and clunky, and it's very curated, but that stuff does not end up in the landfill. Clothing, shoes, that type of thing that's not worthy of coming out here on the floor, we donate it to the homeless community. And things that are good, like a chipped teacup or crafting supplies that may not work out here, we have a whole bin in front that is free for the taking. Anybody who comes in, you see something there that you can use, take it with you, repurpose it. And so we're all about that. But then we put the cream of the crop out on the floor.
Oh, that's really great. I think that's really smart. I've been to thrift shops that also run as boutiques. I mean, Goodwill and Salvation Army do it in their more
Yep.
upscale places like Santa Barbara, Seattle, and it does really well. And the prices are still reasonable, but it means that people who are looking for something nice can go there. It's not just sort of leftover garage sale stuff.
And then incorporating the color tags where we can do a 50% off. If it was a priced a little high for the lower income family or those looking for a super big bargain, well, now we 50% off. And I don't know, little birdie says we might even do some dollar days. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, it's
Cute
nice.
little birdie.
Yeah, he talks to me a lot, so some of it could have come from him.
Cool. Well, I have to say I use Cubby's shelves. Actually, mine are glass, but it's the same concept because you can isolate and do little vignettes, and it really helps. And I noticed you got some cool things in here, actually.
Yeah, I haven't been here for a few days, so
Well, I
I'm
see
anxious to
little
see
cups
what's
and
made its way out
saucers,
here.
and these are Czech, and these are going to be probably 1940s or
Okay.
so. And I see some, I like your blue theme here. These look like Limoges. Are these something that you'd seen and had?
No, I haven't seen these yet.
Yep, Theodore
Oh, they are,
Haviland,
Theodore
Haviland
Haviland.
Limoges. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
nice. You see so many pink patterns, and so to see it in blue is a little more
Those are
unusual.
pretty.
And again, millennials, it's changing, and I'm excited about it because a lot of things that we maybe haven't been able to sell for a while that you can find in thrift stores today are starting to be things that they're looking for.
plate.
It's a nice
She's
plate.
coming.
It's a real nice plate.
It is a real
You
nice
just
plate.
changed over from green to blue, right?
I've always been blue,
Oh,
but I've always been green too.
They go well together.
But
It's an easy mix.
There's green and blue on there.
yes,
Well,
there is.
what I am excited to hear is a friend of mine. She runs a regional mall in Washington State, and her marketing assistant is 32. And she overheard him on the phone. She's a big collector. She's the reason I got to Antiques Roadshow because we took one of her items and it got on, and that's how I ended up becoming an appraiser. And so, because I learned how they do it, and they encouraged me to go to appraisal school. Well, she was talking to them the other day, and her marketing director was on the phone saying, "Oh, honey, I just got the last plate for our China pattern." And she said, "You collect a China pattern?" And he said, "Oh, absolutely." And the 30-year-old assistant said, "Oh, and I like lead crystal, and I'm looking for
Yeah,
lead crystal
I have
decanters."
heard that the clear crystal, the nice clear pieces are making a comeback.
I believe it's true.
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, are you worried about the lead in crystal?" And she said, "No, because we just pour it in, have a party, and pour it out at the end. But it's a beautiful look, and it looks great on the table." And again, tired of plain, tired of boring, tired of throwaway paper plates.
I've been
And
pushing for the EAPG to make a comeback for a long time.
well, you know what? I started buying early American pattern
Yeah.
glass because I watched your enthusiasm
Yeah.
for it. And I'll tell you, I've sold every piece that I bought. So I think
Awesome.
you're onto
It's
something.
got a fascinating story. It's just, and the more years go by, the more fascinating the story gets.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that you can buy something 150 years old. Oh, those are pretty.
Yeah, we were having a big talk about this kind of studio art pieces. Now, so this one isn't even signed.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you come across pieces that, I mean, it's nice, it's
It's
quality
so
made?
hard. So you kind of have to
Hard.
evaluate it because you're not going to likely ever find a signed piece. So you have to look and say, well, it looks like it was wheel thrown. So
Okay.
that means it was handmade. It looks like
And
the
that's,
glaze
you know
was
that by
done.
the ridges.
The ridges,
Mhm.
yeah, because the wheel does the turn, and that's what gives you the ridges. And although they can do that with molding too, they can mold it to look that way. But I think this one was wheel thrown. The handle's clearly applied, you know,
Mhm.
several different color glazes, so that it was a multiple step process. And this is not something that manufacturers do because it's too time consuming. There's been this whole sort of post hippie ethos of this sort of thing being popular, and a lot of that era where the people who are making it, well, a lot of them are retiring out of it. And are young people taking up these things? I don't know that they are, because there's other
Right.
opportunities for them. So
So this might be a good investment even for something to put away
I
that's gonna like spring up as
it might
having some
spring up in
value.
value, but at the very least, it's good quality, and you know it was handmade, and there's something about that. So, you know, at some point you just have to, you know, if you don't have a signature, or you can't read a signature, or the signature doesn't equate to somebody who's famous now, you know what? It's okay. Buy it because you like it, and if you like it, you'll keep it, and eventually somebody might figure out who it is, and then you could have something.
So this piece caught my eye, and it's not signed on the bottom, it's signed
It's
in the
signed on the
glaze.
glaze, yeah, Peters, yeah, and you see that sometimes where you never know where they put the signatures. It became a little bit more fashionable really in the 50s and 60s, the designed and signed stuff, where the signature started to be part of the sales appeal. So they didn't hide the
Right.
signature anymore. They put it out there because it was conspicuous
Well, you know, that
consumption.
happened with the like the American Brilliant period too. The very early pieces they didn't sign because they didn't want anybody to know it was made in America.
Right.
They wanted to have them think it was the
French or
fancy
English.
imported
Yeah.
European glass until it got its
And
claim
then
to
once it got
fame, and
its
then it's like,
footing,
oh, now we want you to
now we want you to know it
know.
was actually made in Ohio. Right, exactly.
So what do you think of pieces like this?
I like them for decorative, but when I see a really bright white background like this, I figure that they're probably not old. The other thing is, notice that the transfer, because this is a decal, notice it doesn't match very well here.
Oh.
So it's a good piece for someone to just decorate with, but if you're looking for old pieces like this, you want to look for clues like that to know that this isn't old. You look for things like, well, the pattern doesn't really match, and it wasn't quite as
Right.
carefully made. So great piece for just a wall decoration, but you know, if you're looking for vintage, then you're looking for something else.
Right.
That's
Wait.
the wrong blue.
That's the wrong blue.
Right.
You know German?
Ein bisschen.
I mean, okay. You judge how I do this now.
Oh, here we go.
Das Fröhlich Wachtersbacher. Okay, you do it now.
We have two Germans in the chat. Das fürstliche
Oh.
Vectors. I can't even read
Vectors.
That's okay. That's already way
German
better.
can
That's
barely-
way better than me now.
That.
All right, you win.
Oh no, see, Tiger says, oh no.
Hi, Tiger. And yes, Tiger actually is from Germany, and she can do it for us. Now,
Vectorsbacher. Okay.
Because the W is a V.
yes,
That's it.
that's right. Now, see,
Flo
here's
Blue.
a comparison. So So look at this transfer pattern on an old piece, and you notice no breaks in it. It doesn't have lines where the pattern doesn't match up. I mean, they were much more careful about it because that was important to them. And this one does have a thing on the back. You can see the blue flowing on the back here, but it doesn't flow a whole lot on the front. So this sort of, would a flow blue collector go crazy for this? They might like it better if it was even more flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a cute piece, and it's an old piece.
Yeah, so you can see I embrace the clear glass here in this store. It's because I still love it.
And there are some nice pieces. I especially like this cake plate with the
Oh,
pressed poppy design. This looks like something from probably the 1930s or 40s Depression glass era. And, you know, again, $6.99, that is a thrift store price. I mean, I think that a reseller could make money on that.
absolutely.
I have to be careful because I have a very full car that I have to drive back. So I'm going to look at everything and then make choices.
Wait, I can't help myself. I got to do it. Okay.
Oh, sand timers. You know, sand timers are actually very collectible.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
We
are
have fun with
cool.
them.
And oh gosh, there's a lot of fun things here. I like the color blocking. I do this in my antique spaces because it's an easy way. If you're not sure how to merchandise, if you're doing real world stores, put things together by color,
Right.
and at least it's cohesive. And people who like a certain color are like, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this, and you have a chance for multiple sales of disparate items. Oh, this is talking about, you know, just grouping things by color if you're doing real world displays, because it's easier for people who like that color to maybe pick out a couple of things that go together. And then down here, this is a Depression glass piece here. This is the dogwood platter, and it's the large one.
Jeanette.
I think Jeanette made dogwood. Yeah, I think that's right. And that's 1930s, and that's in wonderful shape. And all of the decorating magazines are saying 2023 is going to be the return of pink because everybody needs to accessorize those stark gray walls.
Yeah, all the gray. Yes.
All the
yes.
gray.
Well, if you look around here, I mean, we didn't repaint the main room, and it's gray. Gray.
It's
Everything's
gray, but it's great because it's a neutral and you can do whatever you need on it. So,
I thought these were so cool. I saw these come in.
oh,
So they're
place
little-
card
And
holders.
they've
Yeah.
actually got the people's names, and they're not like the names you're used to seeing here. You take
No,
that one.
let's see. Who do we have? We have Etournal, Lowell.
I've got Oscar, Marilyn, Vera, and Ruby.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
I think I have a Becky and a Rem on here. Oh, Ken. Okay. I was thinking Ren like Ren and Stimpy. No.
These look like they might have been left in.
They could be. They actually have that look to them. And it's so funny because, yeah, you would just write on in pencil because it was bisque. Oh, yeah, I think that was left. And it looks like the missing
But it's
sticker.
got the little number. Yep.
Yeah, and you would just write on it in pencil. And then when you had another bunch of people over, you would erase it and do it again. It's just such a funny thing.
People that use those?
You can.
Oh, she's like, what?
Studio pottery, but this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So is this like an infuser to?
Not sure.
Yeah, it's like to keep things like hot water in. I'm not sure either. Huh. And I see some cast iron. Now this is something, oh boy, yeah. This, because of keto diets, of course, everybody is getting into cast iron again, but this is
Is that what's doing it?
yeah, this is a nice old looking Dutch oven. So
It's a thing.
it's a thing.
It seems to be a thing.
It does seem to be a thing, which is funny because my mom, I mean, she dragged we would move a lot when I was a kid, and the cast iron skillet got dragged around and around and around, and she still has it. She's 90 years old, and that's the one thing she would never let go of. A lot of horrible meals were made on that skillet.
Oh, can we get rid of a myth about that, meaning that it's spectacular crystal?
Yeah, let's debunk that
I
myth
mean,
right now.
It's pretty, it sounds good, but that's not your quality checker.
No,
So-
you really have to look
Oh,
at
these
how
are-
thing are made. These are decent quality.
Yeah, they're the Z. Is that Zeisel?
I think
or-
it's Zeisel. Yeah.
So what I like to tell people, so I'll do this live and see if I've been right in my. So you want balance. You don't want the base or the bowl to be heavier than the other.
Right.
That they're a nice balanced piece. If you get one that kind of goes, probably not precision made in the
Yeah,
manufacturing.
yeah, design really has a lot to do with it, and that makes sense because, you know, you're gonna toast, right? So
Yeah.
it's gonna be, and especially if you're serving cocktails, people get a little tipsy, and if it's off balance, well, accidents happen, and
Right?
it might be a nice way to sell more crystal, but it's not
Can
very
they
nice
see
for the
what
people
we're
who bought it.
The other one has writing on it.
I know
Both
we're a
of them
little
have
far away.
writing on it.
Yeah, I think they.
Is it just sketched? I don't know.
Oh, no, I think somebody just,
It looks like Sharpie that.
yeah, somebody wrote their name
Yeah,
on
they
it.
wrote their name on it.
They
Well,
might have, that,
big
you know,
party. You didn't want somebody else taking your champagne.
well, it could also be one of those things like, oh, when I'm
Oh.
gone, I want Laurel
I
to get
want-
this
yeah,
set.
there we
And
go.
Laurel was just like, yeah, I don't need all of those. And of course, brass is hot now. And
Yeah.
this little Turkish coffee pot, this looks like a 1950s or 60s. And boy, these are selling, and your price on this is good, $12.99. I mean, again, yeah, that's a thrift store price for what
Well,
this
now it's
is.
half price.
Is it?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Did you? Oh, that's right. You guys were in the room. I just announced 50% off blue tags.
Oh, well, okay, we're
Why
going to
don't you
go around
do
and
your
look
spiel
again.
I should have let George know.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they can buy things that you're talking about on the shelf in your video. So you're gonna have to tell them about your sale on Monday.
So here's the thing. Yes, Monday I do my whatnot sale here from the store. So if you see something you got your eye on, then go ahead and send me an email, and we will pull those things for the whatnot sale on Monday. That's what we'll do.
I think that's a really good thing that you're doing too. You know, you're establishing a new business, and you have other people who are renting from you, and
Yeah.
of course you have to make sure you're selling their stuff to keep them in
Right.
business. And with a new business, you can't just necessarily expect, because you're just getting established, that people are flooding through the
Yeah.
door. So the fact that you're putting their stuff out there for them is a really great service
Well,
that you would not expect in a store like
That was
this.
actually our plan B when we were having trouble getting our business license and time to get open for the holidays. Was okay, let's just figure out how we can do this all online until that happens.
Right,
You know?
right. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. I don't know how you find enough hours in the day, but it's a wonderful idea. Oh, let's see. Oh, too bad. This one has a chip because I was thinking it might actually go to a relative of mine in Delaware, but this is Vernon Kilns, and it's got the great seal of the state of Delaware on the back.
Yeah.
And I wonder, sometimes they have their maker in the middle here, but they did a ton of state plates. It happened during the Second World War because all of the souvenir plates were pretty much made by English companies until the
Okay.
Second World War. And then suddenly they couldn't produce this stuff. And so Vernon took over and did all of the souvenir plates at that point.
All right.
And a lot of other people followed after, but they are really known for it. They did thousands of different varieties. So now let's see. You wanted to go up and show me some stuff in
so we can walk. This will be a good test of how our signal is doing. We go back up this way, and then we can get up on the stage. right
Okay,
over
cool.
there.
Oh yes,
Are you
Corelware.
shopping? Are you shopping?
Just looking.
We should point out the Corelware because this is very, very popular now, and
But it's
especially
not
these bigger
Thousands
pieces.
of dollars popular. Like you see on eBay.
Exactly.
Supply
We wonder sometimes about some of those really high eBay prices, whether they're real.
Money laundering.
Yeah, that's what we've heard a few stories that some things on eBay that
And the Disney VHS.
oh my gosh,
The
which
the diamond label.
we had stacks of those at the estate sale that I did a video from, and I think we sold a third of them because the people who buy and sell know that those
Yeah.
numbers are not real. So, you know, do a little extra research. If you're using eBay solds as your comparison, that's a great place to start. If you're
Yeah.
using WorthPoint as your comparison, it's a great place to start. It's not the only place
Right,
you want to
gotta a little
go.
deeper.
I
Gotta
have
go a little
definitely seen on WorthPoint also where
Yeah.
if you don't read the description and know that what they sold was described correctly, WorthPoint just puts whatever people got for things on there. And I've seen people
Right.
underprice things because they saw it go for X on WorthPoint. And it turns out, yeah, it went for that because it was as is. It was misdescribed. Whenever you hear a ding in the background or something, you get nervous when you own a store, I know.
Breaking glass. We don't want to hear breaking glass.
Now this is cool. This looks
Yeah.
like Universal. Oh, Knowles. Okay. Yep,
Mhm.
that's right. They did this shape too. Yeah, I like that with the fruit. I think Universal did calico fruit. That's right, which is more of a red background.
I'm a big fan of this, this meaty, nice, sturdy pottery. Like you could actually, feel like you could still use that today.
Well, yeah, and if it's white, I know some people really freak out about lead in glazes. If it's white pottery, your chances are that you're not going to have a problem. Now, you can get lead testers if
okay.
you're really concerned, but it's usually the really bright colors that had a lot of lead in the old days.
Now you're skipping over
The
The
geese.
goose.
that's the
Oh, yes, that's right. The
Oh.
blue geese. Yes, I know people love to,
80s.
yeah, people who,
Geese are making a comeback.
see,
they?
thank you. They are making a
Oh,
comeback.
she's wearing
She's
geese.
wearing geese, exactly. Geese are absolutely making a comeback. Lots of people remember that Grandma had these, so do not undersell the blue geese. They are
Okay,
going to be a
alright.
thing, and I know a lot of you are going to be commenting right now saying, oh my goodness, please don't tell me that, because you lived through it once already, but I'm afraid that's the way it is.
Oh. So this piece, when it came in, I'm trying to determine what the lamp would be that would have been on.
Oh, this was probably a wall lamp because I've had these before. I like these scenic shades, and this one's fun with the covered bridge. Yeah, so this would have been likely because it's only half a shade. It would have been a bulb here, and it would have been kind of like a little night light or wall sconce that just
Okay.
plugged in. So then you'd plug it in. Basically, all you would see would be that with a light behind it.
Nice. See, we get some oddities in here.
Oh yeah, I see you have an old cedar.
Yeah.
That's funny. I have one of these for sale in my mall space in Kentucky, and this is the. Oh wait, that's the screwdriver here. Yes, you would. Yeah, these originally these have had a strap that was that's missing now, and then you just turn the handle, and this would go, and your seeds would come out of the bottom. This one seems like it's had a bit of a hard life.
It's had a hard life.
Seed disperser. Yeah, exactly.
So what do we have on that?
Oh gosh.
Let's see how we did.
$39.99. That's about what I have on mine.
All right. Well, it's half price now. There we go.
Yes,
See, that's the
exactly.
beauty of being able to do like a half price. You price it a little high because pricing is tough, you guys. It is tough in a retail setting to come up with that.
Yeah, that sweet spot where
pricing.
it's cheap enough for a reseller, but you're still making you've got a store to support. This is a good deal, and it already was even before half off. It's going to be $5 now, and this
Yeah.
is old hand turned, and this would have been for a barrel. Yes. Okay, let's see what else we've got on the way here.
And if you guys see something you want to hear us talk about, go ahead and let us know in the comments.
Yeah, that's true over here too. If you see anything that we're passing by that you would like us to stop and take a look at, let us know.
This is our little drunk bottle. We like our little drunk bottle.
Oh yes, yeah. I remember. This is an old bottle actually, very old because there's no seam up the side, and yes, it has melted in the sun. But this actually, the top was applied, and before 1907, they couldn't. They didn't have a way to mold a bottle with a collar, so they'd do a bottle and then they'd have to attach this as a separate piece. So it's actually pretty old.
I have somebody in the chat says they still use their cedar.
Do they? Oh, good for them.
Oh, let's talk about these. When did people stop doing this?
I don't know. Did
mine
you?
were.
Yours were bronze?
They were not bronze. They were
But isn't it actually copper
Silvered
that
or
they use,
something?
but they call them bronze?
Yeah, it's a copper coating, but they call them bronze, but it really is copper. And yours, so that was in this.
silver, I think.
Yours were kind of silver cover, and yours would have been in the 70s. So I guess that probably would have been about the end of that because I don't see them. Late 70s. Okay. So, interesting. I didn't know. Yes. Late 70s. Yes. 1979 New Year's Eve. Okay. We're pushing there just a little, but.
Oh, somebody said Jordan because she was here, but could you ask George what he thinks about nice artwork done on cork or shelf mushrooms?
Oh yes. Okay. Shelf mushrooms. Yeah. I've actually done some of that. I bought some of those. Yeah. You know, the ledge mushrooms that grow off the sides of the trees. And yeah, see, he used to be a botanist, so he knows all the names of all this stuff. He knows the nerd names. He'll tell you in Latin, and you'll go, "What?" But they're great because yeah, they would paint scenes on them, and I think depending on the scene and how long ago it was done, it can be pretty good. I had one where it was done in Alaska, and I happened to go on an Alaska cruise, and it was probably 1940s, and I traded it for about $100 worth of merchandise at an old antique / trade store in Skagway, because they're like, oh, you never see these. So it's a thing. And I'm going to open this up because another brass piece. Now you will see the brass pieces sometimes decorated like this. This is a 70s and 80s thing from India, and with people really being crazy for brass. I know Laura Caldwell came to see you. This is the kind of thing that I could see her taking and styling around and picking up a few of the colors. And then doing like a blue linen underneath. I mean, she's so good at that sort of thing. But you know, and again, the price on this, I mean, it was $5.99 and now half off. So you know, that's $3. That is definitely a reseller thing. Yeah, no, you've got some things in here that are real bargains. So let's see what else we have. Oh yeah, the old this is Heisey Orchid. This used to be a really expensive pattern, and it's a very nice pattern, but people, yeah, you're at half off, you're $12.99. I really am looking as a reseller, even though it's clear, and I know clear hasn't been so popular the last several years, it doesn't mean everyone's forgotten about it, and it doesn't mean it has no value. This used to be a $65 piece. Maybe it's a $35 piece now, but at $12, somebody can make good money on this. So, you know, don't at least look things up if you're a reseller and you're interested in glass. Don't just pass the clear and say, oh, nobody wants that. You're hearing that from old antique dealers who remember when they used to get 3 times this price, but you might be able to get 3 times the discounted price on this today, and you'll be happy. And your collector will be happy because Heisey Orchid's a wonderful old pattern. It was all fire polished. It was really well made.
I actually have some living ones of these now in my fish tank.
Oh, that's cool.
Share with everybody.
That big?
Yes, this size. And I didn't know what these look like as real creatures. So
you're about to be devoured by something.
Oh, what?
Hello, I don't know who we're meeting here, but
the famous Christmas dino.
Oh, that's wonderful. Dinosaurs for Christmas. This must be a Vegas thing. I've never seen this before. Well, hello there.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to meet you and shake your, what do dinosaurs have?
Eat you.
Yes, thank you. Oh my goodness.
I can't actually see everything.
Give us a twirl.
Yeah.
Don't go near the china though.
I mean, I'm shopping for everything.
Are you gonna go up on my stage like that?
I might.
Oh no. Oh no. You need a handler. You need a handler.
Okay, now something here while they're figuring out how to maneuver that is I wanted to take a look at this. I think this one's a new one, but they used to, they did shrimp boats like this even back in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, this one's Kathy Hatch, so this is fairly new. But you will see smaller versions of this by Hall China back in the 50s, where they'd have the boat and then the little individual things for your sauces or for shrimp.
Much stuff is now vintage inspired.
Exactly, because they figured out that people like old stuff, but they don't know where to get it. So then they're making new things that are from that idea. And some of them will be the future collectibles too.
Yeah. Well, let me just say too, to add on to my 50% off blue tags, anything up on the stage with a niche lady tag is also going to be 50% off.
Ooh, well. All right, well, let's see what we have up here. Oh,
hopefully our signal holds out.
I like this table.
That, I do believe that one is a Haywood.
It looks like a Haywood Wakefield, and sometimes you have to get under. Yep, it's got the mark all right. It's in the wheat color, but that's a nice little table, actually. And what's your price on that?
That's a good question.
New stores, sometimes you have to ask because not everything gets priced when you first open.
I had like $100 on it because it does have a little bit of damage on. I think this is the one that has a little bit of damage on one of the legs, a little dog chew.
Oh yeah. It could be polished out, but that again, that is a good price. $100. A reseller could definitely flip that and just do a very small amount of work, and there would be money in that. So, well, I like the lamp because it's very 80s deco revival. Yes, this is starting to come back. The lamp bases, you know, people always are sending me things and asking me who made this lamp. And we don't always know because a lot of lamp companies came and went. They just made for a few years and then they were gone. So, you know, Hager did do some of these bases. I don't think it's theirs. It's just got the look.
Yeah, it's Hager-esque.
Hager-esque, yes. Oh, yes, little alligator heads and big ones. Oh, yes, and black Mexican pottery.
Yeah, unfortunately, that
Definitely
one's,
something to, this one has a little
it's got a little
bump
ding.
here.
Yeah.
But this is Silva. That's actually a pretty good mark. It's one of the Oaxaca makers, I
Mhm.
believe. And yeah, these are, you definitely want to look for black glaze Mexican pottery. If you like it, it's a great thing to collect. And if you are a reseller, it's a thing collectors are really getting into. I sell every piece I get, even chipped I sell, and I
Yeah.
would probably ask that price or more even as
Yeah, I've got
is.
$29.99 on it, which is $15 now. But see,
Yeah.
the cool thing is, as a collector, you just turn it around.
Right, right. Some people are
Nobody
purists
sees a
and they,
chip.
you're right. Some people are purists and they want it to be exactly so. And some people, they want the look or it's what they can afford. And I would rather see it be in someone's shelf than in a landfill. So I definitely encourage that. Ooh, I like this.
I love that piece.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
surprised I
neat.
still have it. I've got 1970s, like thinking.
You know what? That's the thing that's so cool about these is they do look like 1970s, but they actually are from about 1915. It's much
What?
older than
Oh,
it looks. Yeah,
wow.
this is actually one of the first things that McCoy Pottery made. It's called the Onyx line, and you usually don't see quite so many colors in it. And it wasn't marked McCoy
Huh.
or brush. It just, if it has anything, it'll have a little stock number on it. And
Right.
you have it with the flower frog, I
Right.
see, which is also generally not a piece that you see with it. And yeah, I will take that.
All right.
So we have a sale.
Awesome.
Anyhow, I will set it down for the moment, but we'll come back to that. Oh, this is cool.
That I did say that is a Hager with a chip right down there.
Oh yeah,
Little,
nice
but I
though.
just love that green.
And actually, the
glaze.
piece in front of it that you have, that looks like oh, German, huh? I wasn't expecting that. This actually looks a lot more like Spanish pottery of that same era, early 70s, but they all sort of copied each other in that time. And I think your price is just great on that.
Yay.
Also, but he pointed out to me, and I have to show it because it's fantastic.
Oh, right.
Love
Yes.
this. This is vintage. It's so nice to see one that isn't a reproduction. And that one is, yeah, that one is priced at $300. That is absolutely worth $300. There's no question about that price. It's a four-way. It's probably not a who was it? Was it Sonneman? I think
Sonneman,
was yeah,
yeah.
Sonneman. I
I
don't
think
think
I put that. I think Sonneman style.
Sonneman style, yeah,
that I
and
had
it's
under there.
it's possible it could be a Sonneman design, but I think his globes are a little more round.
Yeah, I
It
put
doesn't even
proper
matter.
Sonneman question mark.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter whether it's his or not because that's just a fantastic design, and the modernists just love, love, love that stuff.
I know. There's the famous.
Oh, the famous eyeballs! I still.
Lost out to a loose side toilet seat.
Yes, if you saw, I feel very fortunate to know Danny, and I got to meet her because of Thrift Battle, and this was her final entry, and I won with my toilet seat. But I have to say, I love these things, and I was so excited by them, and I am so surprised you still have them.
Well, they've kind of been hidden. I mean, I've been.
They're in the corner.
Knew
You've
that I
been
was opening a
transitioning,
store, so they haven't been out for sale.
and wow, are they seriously half off?
They are.
I'm
Yeah.
seriously going to
Are they
buy
going
them from
home with
you. That's okay because
Just clarify.
yeah, so they at $40 each, they are absolutely going home
Yay.
with me. And the worst part is now because of our story together, I'll probably want to keep them, but maybe I'll sell one and keep the other. That's one thing, by the way, collectors. I know a lot of my folks are, we talk a lot about reselling because we're talking to people who are resellers, but the truth is that, I do this because I really enjoy collectors and I want to find that ultimate purchaser who will love these things and keep them. And one thing you can do if you're a collector like I am and you don't have room for everything, well, you buy two, you sell one, you get to keep one for your collection. It's a great way to add to your collection at not such an expensive price. So, okay. I also, again, I have to be careful. Make sure they don't roll away. That's a great idea, actually. I'll just set them right down here.
Is all Bill Campbell pottery signed?
Oh, I don't know. That is the honest answer. I am not certain about the answer to that. I would have to do some research. Oh, This is fun. I just had a couple of these in an appraisal. There were a bunch of artists who did these crazy wire sculptures in the 70s, and
This one is a Salinger.
it's a Salinger, yes, and theirs was as well.
I'm
And
very optimistic with my price on there.
yeah, but at the half off, your price is actually perfectly fine.
Yeah. I have 900 on it just because I was waiting to find the collector that I could talk to about it and
really understand it. Yeah, and that's the thing. And I mean, yeah, they price pretty high.
yeah, they do. They
I
are
was
hefty.
I
But
was
this one I don't think is in quite working condition.
right. That's the thing. Yeah, these were mechanical and they actually were made to be able to roll and do things. The appraisal I did, they had this style. It was an airplane, and the other clock. And yeah, they were definitely, there were comps for insurance that were as high or higher than the price you have on it. So
You're
yeah.
saying you need a lucky cart now.
Oh, that's true. I do. Well, we'll come back
So
with
I have
that.
some really cool pieces of furniture up here that I would love your take on.
This is nice. This piece of furniture is, probably 1880s, I would say 1880s or 90s. One way we might be able to tell is the style of dovetailing. Oh, you've got some price
I got
tags
some
in
stuff
here.
in the drawers.
Okay.
Yeah, look at these dovetails, these pointed dovetails.
Yeah, very pointed. So that's going to be right around 1890. And this is, I would think this piece would be European.
Okay.
Probably continental Europe. A lot of these you see from Germany and those areas around the time. And the reason I say that is because of the depth of the carving and the type of this wood. It's just got a really ruddy finish to it as well. And yeah, I think that's very handsome. And another thing that you can tell as far as age is put your finger up and see how there's a big wide gap between your reflection and your finger.
Oh.
That means that this is an original mirror, because in the old days they couldn't cut mirrors as thin as they do now.
Well, and I figured that because of
the beveling and a little bit of the silvering losing on the edges there. Yeah. Do you have a price on this one?
I don't.
In the old days, I know it needs a little bit of help up there.
Yeah, and down here as well.
Okay.
Restoration.
Little restoration. Oh, but you have the pieces.
Yes,
oh, well, that's not a big deal.
Yep.
I mean, actually, that's some wood glue and a little bit of putty and polish, and it'll look like it was all there. So I wouldn't really ding it for that. Although you may have to do that work to get your full price. You know, in today's market, I'd probably want to keep it under 1,000, because in the old days they would have been 1,500 to 2,000. But the market for big furniture right now is soft, because people don't want to move it around.
I bet some of my viewers who saw me pick this up at Goodwill are probably like leaping for joy right now. What do you think I paid for this?
Oh, well, now that you told me you got it at Goodwill, I'm thinking you paid $125.
You're closer.
Wow.
$60.
$60. Oh my gosh.
And it might even have been senior day, so 40% off.
Wow,
yeah.
that is just
I called
crazy.
Sunny, Las Vegas, who has a truck. I said, "Oh my gosh, you got to come help me."
Oh, you made Sunny drag it in here?
This is like the give it away in Kentucky stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. We are seeing right now at auctions in Kentucky, nice old Victorian era furniture. We went to an estate sale and it was half off day, and they had chests of drawers this tall with nice carving that were $40 and $50, and nobody was buying them.
Oh.
And again, I think the millennial audience is going to start picking up on these things, because even if maybe this is a lot of furniture for you, but one piece like this in a room with other things that are maybe a little less high powered becomes the focal point, and then everything goes around that. So I just think it's really neat to see. Oh, okay. Yes. Zeno asked me to tell all of you folks, I know that you are chatting and I'm not able to keep up with everything. So I will rewatch the chat and try to comment hopefully this evening for you. Because I know that it's hard. We've got so much going on here to keep up with everything.
Versus being at your computer where you can see the chat.
It is easier to see it. Yeah, my eyes get there. Oh, and this is neat.
And then I have this piece. Now this to me, I think is American, right?
No, I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. This sort of marbling with this sort of ruddiness to it is usually actually Belgian or French. But in this case, I think this is another German piece, and the reason for that is the roundness to it. I've
Okay.
noticed that continental pieces, especially pieces made in Germany, often have these round elements to it. So I think this is another European piece, and my impression is that this is 1920s, and that we're just starting to see, we're moving away. We still have a very sort of traditional style, but now we're starting to see a little bit of pinstriping because we're just about to head towards deco.
Ah,
And so that's my feeling as far as an age on this piece.
okay.
Nice piece, not as grand as the other one,
Right.
you know, maybe half the value, but I'm imagining from what you told me about the other one that you didn't pay a ton of money.
This actually came in a buyout I did of an antique store going out of business.
Oh,
So
cool.
it was kind of a group deal. Now, the only bad thing is this does have a pretty substantial crack.
Yeah, and this is one problem with marble. You can seal that and make it acceptable, but you can't
Right.
really
You
do
never
anything to, you
really,
can't really fix it per
yeah.
se. These big old kettles, you've got 99 and at half price. This is a great deal. See the old number in there. You can tell by the foundry, the casting of that, that's going to be from somewhere around 1890 or so. And I'm going to lift it up carefully here because
Right
it's
over
going
the
to weigh a
glass.
ton. We'll take it right over the piece of cardboard glass just to see if it might have, sometimes they have a foundry name on them, and this one doesn't. But that can add a lot to the value. I sold one to a viewer of mine for 120 that was about half this size, but it had an old foundry mark from Baltimore from like the
Okay.
1860s. Speaking of 1860s, this pattern here is called Vernon's 1860s, and it was supposed to show life as it was just before the Civil War. And so in this case, you've got trains, which were a new idea then. These were made in the 1940s and 50s, and there is our Vernon's 1860 mark on the bottom of it.
Yeah, and I really, of all the transfer work, I love the polychrome.
I like the
Where they mix
polychrome
the different
too.
colors in.
Yeah, I think it's fun when they do the colors. You know, some people prefer just one color, and you know, it's just up to taste. Oh, and then this actually we should show, because this is a company for you thrifters, and these prices at half off are definitely thrift store prices. $15 on this casserole. This is a company called Denby out of England. And that is a collectible company for sure, especially if you see some of their more modernist stuff. That sells really well. I sold a whole set of the pink on brown floral pattern from the 50s, and I think I sold the set for about $350, and it was just a basic starter set, so I thought that was pretty good.
So we were talking about pattern glass.
Oh
I think
yeah.
it goes that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when I first started my own collections, this was actually the pattern that I started with, the Gillinder Classic.
Oh, that's so neat.
And then I started getting the deer and dog, and I don't have room, so I've started selling off my own collection here. But this is one of my favorite patterns.
Gillinder made such
yeah.
neat stuff, and they're a pretty early company, so their things, and yeah, she's got that sort of bashful Charlotte where she's
neoclassical.
Mm-hmm. And oh, that's a very nice piece. And gosh, I mean, your price again, if you're discounting like you are, that's you know, $24 for this is a great price.
And I don't think they reproduced the classic
They
pattern.
didn't reproduce this pattern, and that's one important thing with a lot of your pattern glass is
that one they did.
yeah, this one's been reproduced. But this one has not. And I like that you've got the footed berry set with the master bowl and the 4 little bowls. And
I have a lot more pieces to bring in too.
Very cool. Yeah, boy, you've got some really fun stuff in here. Oh, and I see you've got the sugar bowls, and then down here I see a piece that is familiar to me from 100 years later. And this one, oh, interesting. So who did this? This is not what I was expecting, actually. It looks a lot like Sasha Brastoff,
Oh, no.
but it's got this mark. Do you know who this is? I have not seen this mark.
BJ.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm
4258. So at least they put a date on there for
yeah,
us.
and it's absolutely 50s looking. I'm wondering if this isn't a good small company that was doing their own work, and they just said, oh, these are popular and we're going to do this style, because I don't recognize that as a major company, but that's pretty cool. Wow. Yeah, there is a lot of neat stuff in here, and gosh, we have, oh, look at the gnomes.
Yeah, I have sold a bunch of those. I bought all of those as a
Oops.
collection at a yard sale. And
Care and feeding of your troll.
yeah,
These are actually really cute. I have not seen these before. I am old. I am very old. And actually made in Tennessee, huh? 3 Art Studio.
That looks like a Tennessean.
Yeah, well, it looks like a few Tennesseans that I know. Those of you who are from Tennessee are probably not going to agree with that, but interesting. This is actually kind of an interesting line. I'll have to learn more about this. I'm surprised I haven't seen them in Kentucky and Tennessee, but Ken Aaron's back as the artist, it says, and those are kind of neat.
they're so ugly, they're cute.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, there is a collector who loves kitsch and loves, you know, they want ugly cute and all of that kind of thing. And I think those qualify. So, gosh, sea life.
Yeah, you know me and my ocean stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it too. I mean, I look for it because I'm around it and it's what I decorate with at my house. Oh, you have a very
That's
nice.
kind of why I was late though, so they don't know I was late getting here. So I literally skated in 2 minutes before I was due to go live, and it's because
Yes,
I
we were
had
all
to-
wondering.
I had to pick up a new fish.
Oh, that's great. What'd you get?
A copper band butterfly.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, how fun.
So I would love your take on this piece here. It does have the
Oh yes, Correa. Yeah,
information inside.
yeah, Correa is actually a good studio glass maker, and this is a, uh, I think, I think he was out of California. We had him actually come in the early '90s. He was part of an art glass show of modern artists that, you know, current artists that we had come to Centralia, Washington, of all things. But I mean, he's in the Corning Museum, he's in the Smithsonian. It's he's considered a very high-end artist. And yeah, the ruby and black joined. I mean, I suspect that this was probably made somewhere around, I don't know if I saw a date on it, but I suspect this was made around 2000. It does have a stock number. It's signed right there. And 2007, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, very nice. And wow, I mean, your price, $75 and then discounted, that's an amazingly good price for that, because this is probably, I know we don't have room, but it was probably $200 new. Of course, I always gravitate towards this stuff. This is another thing with pastels starting to come back this year. I think Hull Pottery might be ready to finally make its return. This is one of the fanciest and most desirable pieces of the pastel florals they did, because this is the bow knot double cornucopia. And you've got this at the discount at $42.50. And I sold one of these for $100 on eBay just a few months ago. And that's with Hull being very depressed in the market. So I think this is definitely stuff to be picking up, because you can find it inexpensively and it's matching what people are starting to want in their interiors. And you know, it's funny to talk about new trends when you're talking about old things, but new trends get people interested in certain color patterns, certain textures. And then when they go looking for old stuff and they see something that matches that, then they get interested. And that's where especially for the decorator collector, that's where a lot of that starts. So
I would also love to have you take a look at these lamps up here. I have not been able to find
GL Hooten.
anything else like this.
Huh. I don't know this artist. The colors, again, definitely have that pastel. In this case, I would associate with somewhere, looking at the way that they're done, I would say probably mid-1960s would be my
really?
guess,
Okay.
or 1980s, and it's a little hard to tell which.
That's like a Sharpie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, interesting. I think your price looks good if I'm reading it right. I think with the discount, I'm seeing these at, am I getting that right? What are we?
Oh, look.
Like $70 for the pair. Yeah, that seems very reasonable for what they are. And I like the artistry, but I can't say that I know who that person is. You know, a lot of really good ceramicists did ceramic art. They sold at street fairs. They sold in a studio. They were known in their time. And I would say that if you folks out there who are collectors have bought things from studio artists and things, and it's not really well documented, either keep the sales slip or write something on a note so that in the future we know who these people were, because a lot of this is being lost to time because just nobody remembers and can connect the dots to who these people were.
And that's how I tend to buy a lot, is not because I know who done it, but because it just
It's got a
appeals to me.
quality.
It's
Yeah.
it calls to me. I say it calls to me from the shop.
It's true. And I think a lot of the people who are successful in thrifting, that is what they do. You know, you don't just wait to only buy things that are known and proven, because by the time everything is known and proven, the profit's already disappearing because everybody's jumped into it. And for people who are collectors, you don't want to wait necessarily until everybody in the world wants something to buy, because you might miss out on it. So,
Sparks joy, yes.
yes. If it sparks joy, yes, buy it. That's the thing, yes. Providing you have room, which is the problem I have. Let's see. How are you two doing for battery life? Are we okay here? Okay, good. I didn't want to miss on getting to see some of your other people if we were running low, but this is great. I have all day, and I'm excited. This is a lot of fun. This is cute. Vienna, Austria. Very sweet. I always like this sort of buff color in Austrian ceramics that was popular between about it's Art Nouveau, 1890 to about 1915 or 20. This probably was a calling card receiver because it's so shallow. So it was just a place you put your calling card. It was very formal.
Well, it looks like the going to the big ball, the party,
yes.
It would be there.
And it's a little shallow to really use. You could use it for little candies and things today, but in the old days, calling on somebody was kind of a formal thing. If you were a little more upper crusty, you didn't just drop by someone's house, and you didn't have a phone necessarily. You came, you gave their servant your card, they put it in the dish, and if you folded the card a certain way in the corner, it meant, yes, tell them that it's okay for them to come visit me later. And if you folded it another way, that was a nice way of saying, I don't want you to come see me. So it was a very, very formal and stiff way of dealing with things. Oh, I like this. I've always been a fan of Royal Bayreuth, and this is the strawberry. They did so many really bright colors. This is about 19 teens or 20s. They were out of, it was German. This actually might be earlier because it doesn't have their mark, but it's definitely their piece.
See, when I get something that somebody has put some note, I just leave it.
Just leave the note. Exactly. But I think this actually dates even a little earlier than that. And again, your price, I mean, definitely a thrift store price. At the discount, you're looking at $8.50, and this is probably a $25 item on eBay. So and Red Wing. It's got a chip, unfortunately, but Red Wing made the most fun patterns back in the day. You see the old Red Wing logo here, and of course it is the same company that made the Crocs, and then they went into the dinnerware, but they got Charles Taylor, who had designed for Homer Laughlin. They hired him, and he did a lot of really great designs for them, and they did a lot of real modernist stuff too. They also did a line of square dishes that I just love that have dogwoods or other things on them, because I have this weird thing about square dishes. As a kid, I did not ever understand how it made sense to have round dishes and waste all that table space. I thought they should be square because they'd all be next to each other, and I've got that chip in my head. That's just a weirdo thing.
I'm so surprised I have never sold.
Oh, is that myrtle wood?
How fun is that?
Yeah. Myrtle wood, yeah. Now this is something we see in Oregon, because there's myrtle wood is in Oregon, and most of the companies that made this were there. And I see this all over the Northwest. It was very popular as a tourist thing, but it seems like I never find people who are collectors. And I've always been surprised by that too, because they bought it to begin with. It's got great labels. This is Myrtle Craft Studio out of Grants Pass. There's a town near there named Myrtle Creek. That is where a lot of the myrtle wood is. You know, it's really well made. It's got a modernist design. It's a nice medium tone wood. I don't get it. It's never really taken off, and I've never known why.
One for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully now somebody sees it.
Yeah, maybe someone will appreciate it. Oh, I see a bunch of Kurok under here.
Oh, this is an amazing set. I got covered up with a plate.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
they did give Kurok away on The Price is Right at one point. Yes, that's
Did
true.
they really?
Consolation prize.
Consolation prize. Yes,
Oh.
exactly. Or if you were in the audience and you didn't get picked. But this one's really fun because it's the one that's got the, it looks like coins in it, and they actually are. This is all countersunk. So one of the reasons Kurok was so interesting in its time is that a lot of the designs actually, they're inscribed in the plastic, so it's not just a screen print. Some of theirs are, but it's not. It's actually, you can feel the texture, and so these are actual Austrian coins, and
Is that malachite?
it's to look like malachite. I don't think so. I think it's some sort of a resin, but it definitely has texture. And here's the mark on the back. You don't always see the marks, but if you see these black trays, now the thing you have to be careful of is scratching on these, but these seem like they're in pretty good condition. And I mean, the whole set with the extra bowls, usually don't see them in sets. It's usually a single tray, and you've got $40 on the set of 6. Again, I think, that might not be a bargain basement Goodwill bins price, but if you look and see what they sell for, that's a I can make money on it price.
I heard it carry.
Yeah, I think we've got a few folks here that we'll have to introduce. There's some other people here we're going to introduce you to, so stick with us here. Gosh, yeah, there's just a lot of fun stuff up here. And I know there's more fun stuff in the store. Oh, Zeno has found something that grabs his attention. And you know what? I have learned, because he sees things that are different than I do. I stop and look when he picks something up. And this is Georges Briard. There's your signature right there. And it's interesting because it's got the texture on the back as well. So this is a little fancier.
I still have trouble not saying the Georges.
Yes, you want to say that S, yes.
Georges.
And then there's this as well. Well, his real name was Zasha Brojo or something.
Oh, wow.
And they said, yeah, they said that when he started out, his business partner said, that is not a name that's going to sell. You're going to be Georges Briard. So that's where that came from.
Oh, that's interesting.
But yeah, this is really cool. These are a little different than what we usually see, because they've got the wooden handles, and this one with the background. And again, the prices on these are good, about $12 each. I mean, in a modernist vintage store, I would expect those to be priced about $35 to $40 each.
So this is a fun piece because of what somebody put on the back of this plate. So it's actually a Dorothy Thorpe.
Oh yes, this is a late Dorothy Thorpe, where it's actually got the signature here rather than the etched signature. And I'm curious to see what they have said on the back. Flow of passion, love, and sex. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not the official pattern name, but maybe there's more to Dorothy Thorpe than I realized.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a good thing that
this
they
is really
elaborated.
So our local casinos do a lot of handout freebie stuff, and this is
Uh-huh.
one of the things that they give out. Now it's Ulta, I believe, makes the set, but they make it to look like
Dorothy
gold
Thorpe Silver Fade.
band.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a ton of these in Vegas.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and you have interesting casino collectibles here too. Oh, this is cute. We'll show that. Crownford is another English China maker that you don't really necessarily look at. I mean, people don't think of, but they actually made some really good stuff, and they were in business pretty late. This piece is probably 1930s, even though it has 1970s colors, because those same colors were popular in the 30s. And yeah, that's very cute with the butterfly on there. And of course, Martha Stewart decided last year that ironstone like this is a thing that we should all like now. So now people do. Okay. This is beautiful. Actually, these are both. Here are two very stately, interesting tall vases for very different reasons. This one is the Granada Gold. Well, Granada Gold, I think, was actually Stangl. I'm not sure what Royal Hager called theirs, but it's very similar with this gold brushing across. And that one you've got 40 on. And then this one looks like it's Austrian again. It says hand-painted two-handle flower vase. This has an Art Nouveau aspect. We don't see a maker name on the bottom, so I'm not sure. It could actually be American to look like that, but we don't see a lot of Art Nouveau in America. I usually associate these with European, and I think that's just really pretty. That would have been some big piece to put on a table or maybe the mantle. and $37.50 on that. I mean, again, these prices for what you have are good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. All right, let's
But I bet there's a few.
let's see who's walked in. Since
Yes.
we've been doing this.
Yeah, we've got a couple of folks who've come into the store that we're going to
Real
meet.
quick, so Rebecca and I have a little rivalry on this because she just thinks it's absolutely hideous. I think it's so cool.
That's funny. I like it. I'm trying to think what kind of a shade you would put with it because it would sit low. I think you almost would need something that was like a bell almost, you know, like
Okay.
a round flat shade. And it's got this interesting socket on it that you don't see very often. This is something from probably 1930-ish,
Okay,
I
I
would
was
say.
thinking 20s, but okay,
Yeah, I think
30s.
you're right in there. And I don't know. I like the modeling. You know, it would just depend on what shade you put on it. Everything can look great depending on how you dress it up, and everything can look terrible depending on what you do to it.
Well, I think it's great. We all have different tastes too. Or what a boring world it would be.
It would be a very boring world if we all liked the same thing, and there wouldn't be any room for collectors because everyone would want the same thing. So,
Who wants to take George into your room?
yes, please.
Carrie, you're on a roll.
Come on, George.
Okay.
I just
We
got
got a
a
Mikey.
Carrie is
We
on
got a
a roll.
Harleen over here.
Oh, that's great.
Just because Jeffrey Parker's waiting for Carrie to go home to go shopping.
Oh.
How you feeling about your bills right
Oh,
now,
very
Carrie?
good. Well, let's.
Yes. Or my Josh.
George, you haven't met my dear friend Carrie.
I
Carrie,
d-
We
we
did
did
earlier.
we did
We
meet
did
earlier.
earlier.
Yes,
We did
exactly.
So, you know, I'm a mermaid, right? So, of course, it's called Desert Mermaid.
Oh, this is the mermaid. Okay, yes.
She's my mermaid girl.
Got
She
you.
doesn't know yet. She doesn't know.
Yeah, no.
This is it.
Oh,
Now,
this is
listen.
fun.
Just moved my house.
You
and
do
a lot
not
of my,
need to make excuses
I
for your
do,
booth.
I
No,
know.
you don't.
You
It's
I know.
awesome.
It is. But I have a lot more stuff at my house. Go ahead.
have something that I haven't seen in a while, and I believe that's Santa Anita wear. And it's a late piece for them, and I'm curious to look at it because I haven't seen one of these in ages. So let's see here. Yeah, this is Santa Anita wear. On my eBay video last month, I sold one of their 50s patterns, but this is what they were doing by the 1970s, and this was really right about the end of their production. And I just happened to spot it because I wanted to write a book on this company, and I never could find enough information to really give them credit for what they did. So that's how I knew it without looking at the back. But there's the Santa Anita mark on the back. So now you'll all know to look for these. And I mean, this is so flower power and so early
Yes.
70s, and the colors are just great. And your price on it is
Is it
$35, which I think is actually a very, very reasonable price for what it is. Because it's a good size and it doesn't have any damage. These chipped pretty easily, so that's why we don't see them anymore. But there would have been this with all the places for your sauces and then your various chips and dips or whatever. And then there would have been side bowls that each looked like an individual flower. And they also did them in blues and greens and other color combinations of that time. So sorry, anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. Tell us more about your space.
Well, I'm gonna get Carrie to start doing the whatnot sales too.
Yeah, this is a blendo and great match. Yeah, it's nice that it's actually not transparent. It's a little different.
So would you the ruby red up there?
Oh
I'm
yes.
leaning toward Viking.
You know, I saw your video when you picked it up, and the foot almost seems like Viking, but Zeno and I both saw you hold this, and we think this is polished down. So we actually think it's a different company, even though the foot is similar. And I'm not sure which company that would be because of the way it's folded. It's definitely the Viking Ruby, but that foot just doesn't seem quite right because for it to be polished like that, rather than just molded, probably European, I'm thinking.
Oh.
But I don't know for sure, and I don't know who. I've got to be honest.
All right.
Do you think that's a good price?
Yes, yeah. When I saw it was funny because we looked at it together on the video, and he said, "Yeah, I don't know that that's Viking with that base," and I said, "I don't either." And then she said it's $40, and I said, "Oh, it doesn't matter."
It's the ruby red.
And I see you've got little Shawnee guys in there. I always get a kick out of those.
Me too.
Oh, Carrie,
And
that's a cool piece. I didn't see
yeah,
that.
you've got a lot of fun stuff in here,
No plus dresser tray.
and your prices seem reasonable to very good, I think. Jewel tea, yep. We
Yeah,
definitely
I
we see a
will-
lot of that in our part of the country.
I will get Carrie to do a whatnot
I know she is.
Very
I know.
soon. Very soon.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Well, I hope you're having fun doing this, and it looks good. And oh, Bobbsey twins.
Right?
I have a friend who does a depression glass and children's books, and she gets these. Yeah, I see you've got 15 on these. That's what she gets at the shows. And she says, oh, I sell every single one. And then there were the later ones that were the colors, color covers by Whitman. I think these are 60s era. So, and $10. Yeah, you're right. They're a little bit less, which I think is a little. These are the original.
I like these better.
These are the original, but these are old too, and I think they're more fun looking.
I'm with you on that.
But I think this is really cool, and I don't know this. This is a newer piece, but you have some information. What can you tell me about it? It says it's Vassarea.
That's what I know.
Okay, so but that's the maker, so you were able to find it. Cool. I like her.
Yeah, and honestly, it's been a while because I had another booth or whatever, and she was in my other booth.
Yeah.
So she's been around for at least a year. So unfortunately, I don't remember exactly everything about her, but the research I found was
very cool. Yeah, I like this. I mean, the colors are good. This is future collectible stuff. Oh, but there is one other thing that I have to show over here because I laughed when I, oh, well, hey, and
right.
We all know I can't be around a bunch of hats without putting one on. So here we go. Is it me?
The same way. I'm
yeah.
too. I'm always putting them on.
I look terrible in them, but I just think that's fun about it. No, it doesn't go that way. I think it's this way, right? Yeah, because you'd have your little bow on the side. Yes, now it fits a little bit better. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's actually cuter than I usually look. Okay, let's see here. No, this is older. This is old chalkware. Yeah, this is like 1930s, 40s. Oh, and this is cute. Okay, here's something we can show for a little teaching moment, which this is easy because it's got the Duncan label on it. So this is Duncan or Duncan and Miller hobnail. And you notice that the hobs are kind of pointy, almost as pointy as Fenton, but there's a whole lot more. They don't have very big spaces between them. I always tell people if it's got sharp, pointy hobnails, that means that it is actually a Fenton piece. But in this case, this is the one exception where you could get thrown. So Duncan and Miller, if you're not seeing Fenton, Duncan and Miller might be the thing.
So we had somebody who's been watching the stream and knew you were here, and she raced down.
Oh, how nice!
Say Fire and Light.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. I usually have to defer to Yvonne Thrifty Rich on the Fire and Light because she really knows it. The thing that makes me suspicious is this mold ring. I haven't seen that on the pieces that I've seen her show, but they're often. Well, they're often marked, so it is a thing to look for.
I was thinking if it was, though, it might be a second because of that manufacturer bubble in there as well.
Okay, I don't see letters on here. Yeah, I would have to defer to Yvonne, but I'm leaning towards no with what information I do know about them. I want it to be for her because everybody's really hot for Fire and Light.
It's still a really beautiful piece.
It's a great color. I like the azure blue. That's the other reason that I think, Fire and Light is recycled glass, and it is true you could, if you were just recycling clear, you could get this color.
Yeah.
So it's a maybe, but usually their tones to me seem a little darker.
Okay.
So if anybody out there in the chat knows.
I've never had my hands on it to know what it. See, that's my thing with glasses. Once I know what it feels like,
then and that's the thing. I've never had a piece I knew for
waxy kind of feel, and I don't know if that's
they were doing things in the era where you had that smooth waxy feel, but the pieces that people have told me they thought felt a little less rough than this.
Okay.
So I'm with you. I haven't handled it enough to really feel confident.
This looks like it was pressed out of a mold.
Yeah. One thing we should say for both channels really quickly, folks, is that if you have not subscribed to the Niche Lady or the Antique Nomad Live, please subscribe because, or the Antique Nomad regular channel, which is our main channel. Yes, please hit that thumbs up button to like these videos. please subscribe and send comments because we love to hear from you. And we like to know that you're interested in the kind of thing that we're doing, and also what things you would like us to do in addition or instead. So be in touch.
I learned a lot from George.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll tell you, I'm having a great time, and it works both ways. You taught me something yesterday. You'll have to watch the video, but she taught me something about, say the name of the beaded animal again.
Oh, the beadworks.
The beadworks,
Beadworks
yes.
animals,
Yeah, she will
yes.
give a tip in my video that is very helpful, and I learned something I didn't know. So we all help each other, which is what I love about this. So, and
I have to go give this back.
behind you on the shelf here, I just wanted to point this out because this is very important to me to say. Danny was looking through here and showing salt and peppers, and you've got a lot of very cute little, Japanese with the Dutch and the little figurals. I like this one because he looks a little bit angry, actually, which I am getting a kick out of. Oh, sorry, let me hold it. I'll hold it for you, and I'll hold it for you. Sorry, I'm not used to working with two cameras, but we're trying real hard. I do too. But then Danny picked these up and said, oh, who would want toilets on their dining table? And I just want to say, well, she's around the corner and can't hear it, Danny needs to stop underestimating the power of the toilet. That's all I have to say.
She could talk about the toilet.
That's right.
Carrie, you have a customer up at the counter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I really like this cart too. Oh, and the ice bucket's fun. The ice bucket's Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. I guess we're right around the corner from that. I haven't actually seen a holiday one before. And that one has the Phoenix Taiwan label. So this is 1980s. I know it's funny to think of Taiwan as being vintage, but nowadays most things just say China, whether they're from Taiwan or not. So Taiwan is actually... I just bought a pair of iron candlesticks that were marked Taiwan because they're a great modernist design from the 80s, and they sell for $20 online, and they were $2 at a Mexican flea market. So
Carrie's got a great eye. She has a great, I mean, I get the great fortune of shopping with Carrie often. And
you used to have this set?
The middle one.
Middle one?
Middle one, yeah.
you see those, Jordan?
The strawberries. I'm not into strawberries anymore, Mom.
Oh, you're
It was
not?
a
Oh,
phase.
oops.
Strawberries come and
phase
go.
on.
Well, let's see who else is here. And oh, let's meet this guy.
Hello. George
Hello.
Nomad.
Nice to see you. This is sunny Las Vegas, and I've watched his channel, and I'm excited to see. Show me where you've got a booth here.
Not just me, it's me and Mikey Bags of Money.
Oh, you share, huh? Oh, well,
Yeah.
we'll get Mikey over
We're a
here
package
too.
deal.
Ah, that's great.
We're a package.
You know, I got you a little something for Christmas. I was like, I got to wrap it all together because they're a package deal.
Hello there.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yes, and I have to say, I just discovered you because of the fact that you're involved in this, and because Tiffany and Danny ran into you doing a live at a Goodwill.
Awesome.
Which was pretty fun, actually. I have to say, you're very brave. I never find one that either has good reception or doesn't have the music up so loud that
Yes.
so you've done very well with that.
Thank you. It's a constant challenge streaming live, but hey, you just go for it and hope it all turns out well. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're doing it right now, and so
Yes.
far so good. So so tell me a little about how you guys got into the business. I don't know your background story.
So in order to do reselling, right? The reason why I do it is because I love to eat food. So I find things, and I'm like, this is gonna feed me for today and tomorrow. But in all honesty, when we moved to Vegas, I ended up having our apartment broken into. I didn't have it broken into, but it got broken into. And my wife had just got a job and brought up thrifting. And I was like, what's thrifting? She said, it's where people go to thrift stores and find stuff. I said, but what's a thrift store? I'm from a small town, never had this. My hand-me-downs are like 5th generation hand-me-downs. So to me, it was like, this was amazing. As soon as I stepped in the door, I found a little vintage rust troll, and it had happy 60th year anniversary. And in my head, I thought baby boomer era.
Yep.
Within a few days, it sold this 80-something cent item sold for $24.
Uh-huh.
And the light bulb went off. And I just started using Yelp and trying to get smarter. And that's what started it. And that was back in 2015. And then running into this guy online, and then Danny, the niche lady, and people in the community just ended up coming together pretty much.
Oh, that's
magically.
really, really cool. Yeah, a lot of people, it's like I needed you know, a lot of resellers start because I'm between things and I need to make some money, and how do I do that? And then they find out that, hey, there's a whole bunch of us collector types who really like this old stuff. And, you know, we just can't be everywhere. I don't do a lot of thrifting, and people say, well, why not? Because the thrifters, they get such great deals. The truth of the matter is I'm so busy with the other things I'm doing, I'm more likely to go to an estate sale where I know I'm going to find a whole bunch of stuff in one thing, but I'm not necessarily going to have time to go to a whole bunch of different thrift stores to find those things, but yet they're out there. And so, you know, you're actually doing the collectors a service. I mean, all of us deep down, at least in the antique and vintage part of this business, we only exist because people love this stuff and love to collect it. So it's you folks out there who make this possible, and we're very appreciative of that. And tell me how you got started.
Okay, well, I used to be in the construction field, and I got injured at work, and I sat at home unpaid for months, and I finally got my surgery, and my wife said, why don't you sell a pocket knife on eBay? And I sold this pocket knife, and it sold within a day for $100, and I was so happy to make money again.
Yep.
I started looking through things throughout the house and grabbing everything I could. And then I turned on YouTube and started watching people and learned that it's a legitimate business. There's legitimate places you can go source things, and anyone can do it. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, my wife, I think, thought I might go look for a job again or something, but I've been reselling since, and that was about 4.5 years ago.
What's the bromance story though?
Bromance story, yes.
No, we just get along so well. It's never been a thing why we like each other. It's just
We really have
work.
become a
It-
family around.
Yeah.
Like I call these guys my little brothers, which makes them your big brothers, by the way.
No, that's not how that works at all.
That's how it works. That's how it works, Jordan.
But we're all family here now, and I think it's just the common interest and wanting everybody to succeed, and we all work together towards that. It's just
I think that's what I really have enjoyed over the years, and what's kept me in it too is when I started and I would see the collectors come and get all excited, and I would see the dealers come in and be all excited because, oh, somebody besides me likes this stuff, and I have more than I can use, so I get to share some of that surplus with other people who collect, and we get to share information and talk. And I mean, that's why I do my channel. Is the whole idea is that, you know, I have people say, oh, you know so much, you know so much. I didn't know anything when I started this. And so for you people who are out there saying, oh, it's so overwhelming, oh, he knows so much, you will too. Just
One
stick
thing at
with
a
us.
time.
Keep watching
Just
us.
do
We'll
one thing
teach
at
you
a
what we
time.
can.
But you do have
Find the
two-
thing you like and go for it.
You have two channels, which I just realized. I thought I was following.
We actually have three, it
just-
turns out. Right now we're on the live. We have a main channel, and then we actually just started a shorts channel because YouTube is talking about making shorts a thing after the beginning of the year. And we just decided that we wanted to have all of those individually because it seems like actually different people like the different channels for different reasons. So
I
we're just
realized
going
my
to see how
mess
it
up,
goes.
too. They're your uncles.
Yes.
That's it.
Correct that.
Aged us
Correct
really,
that.
really
Yeah,
fast.
sorry.
I
Hey,
don't
let's
want to be a sister daughter.
let's go see what goodies.
Oh
we
yeah,
got.
so this is your spot in here?
Yeah, that's
Cool.
our little booth.
Okay.
You can go in there,
You go.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Who goes?
Super Bowl football. That's
Super
cool.
Bowl football.
DeGrazia. I'm definitely seeing people starting to pick up on DeGrazia. It's I guess that they started doing their art back in the 60s, so there are some real vintage pieces that are going. But tell me, I mean, I get sort of a feel for what you do.
Dude stuff.
Yes.
Randomness.
Isn't it nice though? You know, I have to say the other thing I like about this is that when I started in the business, we sold lots of pretty things to women, and their husbands stood there bored and cross-eyed waiting for something to happen. Or if we were lucky, we had one mall that was near a golf course, and they'd say, I'm going to go golfing and I'll drop you off and come back. And now there's actually things in places that guys like, and they get to collect too, which I think is so cool. So what do you sell well here? What does well for you? I mean, you said randomness, so it could be anything,
Well,
right?
our randomness is more of, I try to come in as much as often we both do and see what our customers like, because it may be things that we're not picking up yet, but coming across.
Yeah.
So yeah, because before anything like this, I would never pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Before Danny, I would have never got a brass lamp. But ever since learning about values and just putting it in the right place for people who enjoy it more than anything, Because even though on top of money, it's nice to get money for it, but it's nice to know somebody's going to appreciate it.
I agree. I agree. It's not just about the money. If it was just about the money, you know, we could probably go, yeah, it'd be boring, and we could probably go get some inside sales job doing whatever, and, you know, who cares? But I like the idea that, you know, it's connecting with somebody who really enjoys it, and also that, you know, it has some meaning. It keeps things out of landfills. It brings them some nostalgia, some connection to the past. And honestly, we don't need nearly as much new stuff as they're sending over here. I mean, you know, because you go thrifting, why do we need another box of clear glass coming from the Orient on a ship when there's shelves and shelves of clear glass just begging for somebody to buy them, you know? So, do you know the story on this? It's got a B on it, and it's
I can't
really
even pronounce
heavy.
the name, but it's late mid-centuries, the early 19th centuries. The person who designed this, from what I learned from a viewer friend, Mary, she actually mentioned you, and we didn't tell anybody that you're coming. So when Danny told me you're coming, I was like, maybe he might know about this. But from what she found out for me doing all the hard work, I'll step this way. It is very heavy. So
Yes.
this used to be part of a globe. There was a globe on top.
That makes sense.
So, and the initials are here, and the guy started doing it around 1910. So the globe would go on top, and this was the
Interesting. So this is a repurposing,
Yes.
an old repurposing from about
Antique
50
vintage.
years ago. And I thought that's why I asked, because the base looks and feels like 1890s, and it's just beautiful, actually. It's really cool. And, you know, I don't mind what they did with it, because I'm sure the globe got destroyed years ago. And yeah, very fun. Show me some other stuff in here.
Stuff. I'm not much the salesman.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
I
Just
sit it and put it. But here's our little glass container. We got some fun stuff in here.
oh, look at these guys. I just sold these guys.
Danny actually gifted those to me. A lot of my members like to drop the eggplant emoji. It's kind of fun on Friday night.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So if you, if you go to Mr. Moneybags here, you'll have it's Mikey Moneybags, right?
Yep.
That's your
Mikey
channel.
Bags of Money.
Mikey Bags of Money.
Yes.
Sorry, let's
It's
get
all
that
good.
right. And then Sunny Las Vegas is our other channel producer here. But yeah, I just sold this pair for, actually, you've got 15 on them, and I sold them for, I think, 19. So, you know, I think those are great.
Excellent, yes.
And the thing I saw in her video that I really like is this guy.
I know.
And I'm going to see if I can get him out very carefully. Yes, this is the glass fish, and you've got $99.99, which is a very fair price on this. Now, I think this one, Blanco made these, but I think this one is likely to be Italian, because the Blanco one doesn't have this same eye exactly, and they don't have this texture in the back fin. But this is really cool, and people will fill these with colored marbles, or they'll fill them with, well, who knows, anything you wanted to. But they are definitely a thing to look for. Any big glass fish like this seem to be a thing.
The sharp cut mouth.
Blanco would have a polished mouth like this, yeah, because they had to blow them this way and then actually carve them back. So interesting piece, though. I like that a lot.
That was great to learn. That piece, I found it at the store, and then I put it on a shelf to take a picture of it, and then I forgot it.
Oh.
And then my wife said, because I sent it to my wife, and she said, where's the fish? And I said, it's at the store, and it was already closed. I went first thing in the morning, and luckily it was there.
That's great.
Yes, I
You
did not
know,
sleep good that night.
that happens a lot. I find that it's a real thing. You know, we're filming and we're talking about things, and we're trying to, even as I'm going through here today, you know, we're trying to share with you and give information and show you what we're showing. And sometimes I'll get an email from someone afterwards who's like, oh yeah, you said, oh, this is great, I'm going to buy it, and I'd like to buy it from you. I'm like, oh, it's still there. I forgot to go back and get it. So don't let me forget to go back and get my
I
stuff.
have a story I have to get back to, because I bought a Wyland. I thought it was just a tile, and everybody goes, it's the top to the box, and the box was right below it on the shelf. I'm like,
Oh, I hate when that happens. The thing in the corner. Oh, this. These are actually the bases for a Proctor Silex percolator that would have sat on top here. And this was the candle warmer. These are from the 40s and 50s. But the thing that I like talking about guy stuff, and I won't take it because it's way too big for the little car I'm in, unfortunately.
but this
But
one is famous.
That one is
This.
internet famous.
Oh, is it really? Tell me why it's internet famous.
Well, I purchased it for $10 at Goodwill,
Mhm.
and it sells for about $200 to $300 on eBay.
Yep.
But right here, it was duct taped and had a Pabst logo on it.
Oh.
And I took it into the leather repair shop to get it fixed. Now, I came from the construction industry, so leather repair, that's not my specialty. I don't even really know about leather repair. I didn't even know you could take this into a shoe place to get it fixed. And they repaired it, and then the repair wasn't the greatest. But I didn't show it on my video because I don't like to put people on blast or anything. I was just like, it's okay.
Sure.
But the audience, they wanted to know, how did this come out? So I showed it to them, and they were appalled. So I went back to the place, and I printed out the comments from my YouTube, and I was like, I do a YouTube channel. I came here to fix this. Let me read you some of the comments these people said about the job. And it only took about 3 comments. They said they'll take it back, and they fixed it. And this is the fixed, nicer version.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was carved across there.
I was going to say this doesn't look bad, so there was a story there. Oh gosh, that's really interesting.
I have a whole playlist on it and everything, and I want to go with sunny Las Vegas and try to sell it at a golf course soon. I think.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yes,
It wouldn't be a far commute because it's right across the street.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's got to be golf courses every 50 feet in Vegas, right? But
yes, it's nice. It's beautiful.
It's really cool. Well, I picked it up because I have one that's from one of the U.S. Opens that I need to put out to sell, and I just haven't yet because it's such a big thing. And I wanted to know your price because I'm thinking of putting $300 on mine, and now that I saw that yours is just a touch over half of that, now I feel confident about that. So thank you.
Yes, golf bags really do very well on eBay.
Oh yeah,
they're pretty easy to ship for the most part.
They're not bad. They're not breakable if you, I mean, for the most part, if you at least pad them a little, they're going to get there.
Yes.
FedEx, yes, exactly. Yeah, cool. Wow. Well, this is really fun. Thank you very, very much for showing me, and I want to see more of the store.
Let's go. Let's.
Oh, Mr. Kool-Aid, yes.
Oh
yes.
I love that.
Yeah,
I get
that's
kids to drink that
childhood.
all the time.
Oh,
Yes, drink the Kool-Aid. Oh, and I have to admit, I like this because of the way it's mounted. You know, we're way out west here, and I like this rough-hewn look to this. This is another thing, if I had room in the car, I would take, because this would be a great thing in my display in Centralia, Washington, where I do all the Western stuff. But I don't think that we have room for that one, unfortunately. But it is. It's a reprint of a Frederick Remington, though. Oh, yes. Oh, an actual Pez rack that's metal. Huh. That's cool. Yeah, okay. I'm liking this space a little too much. I think we better leave and go see something else. Okay, let's see where we're going here. Oops, I'm sorry.
My turn.
I got myself a cat in the hat.
Well, now we're the same height.
All right. This is Harleen and Will's room, who will be introduced much more in my videos coming soon. But this is my camera guy. Here is Will.
Oh, very good.
You all know my voice.
Oh, that's great. Yes. Yeah, so this is Harleen. Did I get that right? And Will's space, and they are actually quickly explain what it is. They are professional film videographers, and they are actually.
Will say what they do.
Yes.
Oh, we're film and television content producers, and we are so excited to be working with Danny here. Not only behind the camera, but then soon on the camera, and having this space in here, which has been so much fun to put together.
And they're fantastic pickers too.
Yes, and that's been kind of our side, passion since I was a little kid. I've loved doing it. When I'm working on a film, that's how I just kind of get away from it for a minute. I go to garage sales, I go to Goodwill, I go and just find treasures. So my mom and I split this booth in here, and I won't say which is mine and which is hers, but we've definitely got our own styles.
Oh, that's
Pretty
great.
clear.
Yeah.
So this is what. So yesterday, George and I were talking about the jewelry in here.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yes.
You're gonna love.
Well, let's go shopping. Okay, so. Oh, now this is interesting. I like that you have the black light here, and this is something that people don't always know, because this color of green is a little more of a lime green, but this stuff that's by Tiara Glass, which was the home parties that Indiana Glass made for in the 70s, this stuff does glow under a black light, and it gives almost a bluish cast. So, for those of you who are uranium glass collectors, after a while, if you're just doing the green or you're just doing the Vaseline, it starts to get a little bit of a blur where you can't really pick pieces out. So you may want to look for different shades because they do have differences in the way they glow, and you may be able to make a more interesting assemblage, the assemblage that way. Wow, there's really cute stuff in here actually,
Yes,
but
I love their stuff.
oh yes, I recognize this set. Yeah, that's Sarah
Oh,
Coventry
we need a key.
out of the 60s. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see. Oh, and this looks like Sorelli. I just sold a bunch of this. That's a newer name, but it's a very good name, and it does sell pretty well. And I had never had it before, but I got some in consignment. The malachite piece looks like it's from the 80s. We were at Costco last night, and they are starting to show malachite in the
Oh.
jewelry there, which I found, and
Oh, the piece I
marcasites.
was talking about sold.
It sold yesterday.
It's sold. Oh, it was a beautiful Taxco sterling piece.
Oh, I saw that, and I was hoping it would still be here.
Yep,
That was
yep.
my favorite thing in the case. But there's some nice pieces here. Christmas pins. There's only one shopping day until Christmas, I guess. 1.5. I like this though. I think I've had this piece before, and I'm trying to remember what it is. Let's see. It's a little wound in here. Sometimes things get a little tangly. So let's see if we can get that off.
That means you just have to buy them all.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so this, what I find interesting about this is that I just like the way that it's studded with the stars in here, and I don't know who the maker is on this, but it's a little older than it looks. People might get confused with this little hanging piece here, thinking that this is a newer piece, but when you see this kind of a catch, then you know it's older, because nowadays the catches we have are more like, well, I actually don't see any that are newer to show, but they're more like a hook. But I just think this is a neat look. You know, sometimes buying costume jewelry is not about makers and all that stuff. It's more about how is it going to lay. Hopefully I'm not scraping against a camera, but or a microphone, but sometimes it's just more about how it lays on. It would really be better on you.
I'm a little crazy colored right now.
There we go. Yeah. So see how that actually, it actually looks good with the cat in the hat. But yeah, see how nicely that lays around the neck. And so, yeah, I think I'll be buying that one.
There you go. Okay, I got a comment here that said, where'd it go? The big bangle with the black spot looks like a sleeper. Where was that?
Okay, I see. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
This one.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Oh yeah, it's neat looking. It has the look of Bakelite, but it's actually a later plastic, and that is supposed to be, I think, a peacock feather.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm seeing it right. And that is a lot of fun. That looks like a 1980s piece to me. When Bakelite became really popular in the 80s, then you started seeing a lot of things that were sort of like the butterscotch color coming out, but they were a later thing.
I want to see that.
Well, this one is the one. Okay, now this one's going to have a little tag on it. And here's our newer, okay, here's what our newer hooks look like.
The little lobster claw.
Yeah, the little lobster claw, exactly. That's what a new hook on a piece of jewelry looks like. Now, sometimes you'll see old pieces where they had the thing broken and they redid it. And in that case, you might see that on an old piece. But generally, that's a newer one. I'm going to see if we can see who the name on this is.
Here we go, loop-de-loop.
Yeah, always good to bring your loop with you. Okay. Fi. Okay, I've seen that too. I was thinking it was Sorelli. It's another company, but it's nicely made. You know, again, people buy jewelry because they like the way it looks, and some people really, really love vintage, but some people, you know, they just want color or they just want a design. And this is actually a nice looking piece. There we go. I think I've got it where you can see the tag. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That seems like something that would sell in Florida. And that actually has a Spain mark on it. So this is 1970s Spanish, where you see this damascene that was very popular in Spain at the time. So that's really cute too. But I like the one I picked out the best for me. Oh, and a fortune cookie.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, and Swarovski crystals. Yes, $15.
We had 3 of those. 2 of them sold just as we were coming in today.
Wow,
Wow.
interesting. Yeah, that's
Those are
very
cool.
heavy. I mean, it's just a, basically it's a pin box, essentially. So, yeah.
Oh, look at the interior of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
The hair.
Oh yes, the hair comb. That one is probably 1980s, I'm thinking, but it's got the lily of the valley on it. So that's kind of cute. And made in France, it says, $20.
Ooh la la.
Very neat. Yeah, and the old Sarah Coventry set.
Everybody
That's
right
one
now
of their
saying, Danny,
better
don't
ones.
try to speak French. Don't do it.
No.
Do it.
Oh, the panda is very cute. $48 on that.
Oh, we are getting close to battery.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and a menorah keychain with a little stamp on the bottom. Well, there's some cute stuff in here. But if we're starting to run low on our battery, I think what I'd like to do, we can keep going on your channel, but I'd like for my viewers to be able to watch a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and shut this. Oh, thank you. There we go. So I'll leave that, but I will definitely come back for it. We do? Okay.
Yeah, but it's going to require a little fiddling.
Okay. Do you need me to come with you to do that?
Probably.
Okay. Well, let's, if you don't mind, we're going to all follow my cameraman while we get readjusted.
Yeah, we'll just come back and meet.
And
People take battery too.
yes. So
We'll be
let's,
back in a minute.
yes. Just take a moment, folks, and we'll be back with all of you. So,
Oh, the gimbal is in here.
okay.
So.
Do you want me to hold this while you go for it?
Oh, I was getting a. Well, now I seem to be okay. I'm not quite sure what that was about, but let me just hold it and.
Okay. Maybe I can look at some comments in the chat while you're getting that.
If it flips.
Or I can turn around and
just
face a nice
please.
wall. Okay, I'll let
There
you.
you
Okay. There we go. All right, thank you. Okay, so I am now the cameraman for a moment, and I don't know if we've had a chance to look at some more comments. There we go. Let's see here, resolution. Oh, I'm sorry about the resolution. It'll get better here in a minute. I think it's because the battery was a little bit low. And I see Sharon and I see Corinne, and I'm gonna hold this tight. We're gonna switch gimbals here. It might shake just a little, but hopefully this will give us the battery we need to keep going here because we're having a lot of fun. And Spruce and Gussie, nice to see you. Debbie from Chicago, hi there. Very good to have you with us. I'm gonna follow along while he does what he needs to do. Oh, hi Tiger, and hello Heather and Angela and Jan. And yeah, this really is fun. Cheryl, Crystal, oh good, I'm glad you're having fun. I sure am too. It's, I wanted to go thrifting and show something, and because we had just gotten back to the States, this was the opportunity. Linda, nice to see you. And okay, let's see what we need to do here.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna have a little jostling here, so just bear with us while we get the camera out and switch to the new, yep, there we go. All right, presto changeo, and pretty soon we will be back on.
It'll take a minute, but
it might take a minute.
talking.
You might see a lot of little funny shaking stuff, but I'm so glad you're all having fun with us, and I hope you're all feeling prepared for the holiday coming up this weekend. I have prepared by running far away, but I'm really enjoying being here and getting to meet these folks, and it's been really fun here in Vegas. We'll have some fun videos on the main channel. It'll be a little while because I've still got to process, but we did a lot of filming in an antique mall yesterday, and I will tell you, they talk about the thrifting being good in Vegas, and you know, so was the antiquing. We really did find some neat stuff. Surprisingly, considering that Las Vegas is the newest major city in the country and didn't even exist until 1905, there are some true antiques here as well. It's not all just vintage stuff.
I'm gonna get this back to you temporarily.
Okay, we're gonna flip there. Will we get back in time for Christmas? No, I think we'll be driving on Christmas, to be honest with you, because we're going through a really pretty remote area. That'll be our Christmas day. I've already asked forgiveness from my family. They are going to be doing other things, and so we will get back. But no, it all has to do with, I'm here now, and then I have to get back to Washington State to get my van and load and drive down to Florida for my antique show season, which starts at the Venice Antique Show in the middle of the month. So I'm sticking my finger up just to see. Trying to stay warm, it's the power outages. Oh, shoot. Teophane, I'm so sorry. I know a lot of people are having really extreme weather, and I understand it's mostly not supposed to last more than a day or two. Don't forget that McCoy Onyx flower bowl. Thank you. I will make a point not to. Brenna, it's great to see you too. I'm kind of going backwards through comments and trying to see who all is here. Hey, from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Oh, yeah, we saw a piece of furniture from Grand Rapids at the beginning of this. And let's see what else we have here. When am I passing through Phoenix? Unfortunately, I think we have to go back through Flagstaff. I really would like to meet you. And so at some point, I'll try to get through Phoenix as well. We're good? Okay, we're going to go back down in the comments to the bottom, and then we will have liftoff again. And actually, if it's okay, do you mind if we go back where we left off? Because I didn't get to see, I didn't get to see the rest of the space. So
let's what was it over here? So the Stangl. So Royal Hager, Stangl, a few of these different companies were all trying to mimic this kind of this gold.
Hall China had Golden Glow. This was very popular in the early 60s. A friend of mine's dad worked for Libby Glass, and he was actually the one who figured out how to make a nice, you know, that gold leaf, the gold maple leaf you see on glass all the time, and it's everywhere in every thrift store. He invented the process for them. And he, it was about 1960. And so, of course, immediately the secret got shared. And it was a way for them to decorate things in gold that wasn't really expensive. It didn't require gold leaf. And because of that, it became very popular. It also was the early 60s, and it was sort of the Jackie Kennedy era, and, you know, schmaltzy and fancy was in. And so gold became a thing. So every company started to do stuff like this. I like this particular one. I always liked the Stangl because I thought that they did a nice job mixing it with other colors.
I'm surprised Stangl isn't doing better than it is, because it's really an attractive pottery.
It's really good, and I'm starting to see the bigger and more interesting pieces from this area are starting to sell. And I agree with you. I think it's under, I think everybody associates it with the birds, and they made tons of the birds, and they made lots of the dinnerware, and it's all good quality, and all of it had a bigger collector following 20 or 30 years ago. And I think we're going to see that starting to happen again, because you know, like this piece is priced at $65, which I think is a right-on price. Next to it here,
know what that one is, right?
Well, I saw the label when you flipped it over. This is Rosenthal Netter, and this is made in Italy. You know, everyone's all crazy for Raymore because they worked with Vitosi and Aldo Landi. And oh, by the way, is Tiffany coming today? Because I found an ID on her bowl. Okay, well, when we see her, we'll see her. But in any event, this particular company, I think they made some really nice stuff too that was brought over from Italy, and that it's actually a little bit more of a sleeper at this point, but I think people are going to catch on. This one, 65, I mean, that seems like the right price. Modernists are paying up for this kind of stuff. And then we see some Tonala, and that one has, oh, an AM mark. That's interesting. That's not an artist that I know, but I think, you know, I look for KE because that's Ken Edwards, and he was the progenitor, but there's so many other good people who did the stuff, and I need to learn more about them, because there's the mark there on that one. Yes, I would like to go there. It's actually not far from Oaxaca, where a lot of the silver is, in Toxco. So little fairy lamp. Boy, people are wild for fairy lamps now. And there is a nice little Fenton one. And next to that, this little Russian box. I always like the little Russian fairy tale boxes. I don't know which fairy tale this is, but it's got the signature of the town and the artist as well. And nice enamel lacquer. And that one's $30, which is actually, for a larger piece, on the soft side of retail, I would say, actually. So yeah, there's cool stuff here. I like that little piece. Small Navajo pot, and they're right about the price on this. They've got $42. It's signed. The small ones actually are more valuable than the larger ones. They were harder to make, or at least as much effort for a lot less money. So they didn't make as many. It's the same with a lot of, you talk to glass blowers too, and they're like, oh yeah, we made those little pieces, and we could have made a big one and gotten 3 times the price. So they weren't as motivated to make the little ones.
So I tell you what I'm going to do here. So folks, oh, let me see if I can flip my camera around. Hold on, stand by, stand by. because now George is still alive. I am going to get you guys to go over to George's channel. I'm going to wrap mine up. But the conversation will keep going. But you got to go over to George's channel, which is, there we go. Yes, I'm wearing cat in the hat.
Okay, we are on the Antique Nomad Live. Do we have subscribe on?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay, if you're not already, if you're, you can go right over to the Antique Nomad Live, and you are welcome to join us right now. If you are not a subscriber to the Antique Nomad Live, if you want to hit the subscribe button, you will be able to chat in 5 minutes. We do that because it keeps us from having to deal with trolls in the middle of the conversation. So if you want to chat and you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. And then you'll be able to chat with us 5 minutes from now.
Some of them are on both channels because it's a different audio. And
that's great.
Yeah.
No, you must be going crazy. Oh, well, thank you so much. This is so fun. And I'm really enjoying this, and I'm glad we can keep going.
You guys keep going, and I'm going to go say goodbye to them.
Okay, very good. We'll catch up again. Oh, we might have. Okay, great. Well, we'll see the rest of the store in that amount of time. This is a great book. Now, I talk a lot about how I don't usually recommend buying things that are posthumous, because once a celebrity is gone, everybody gets the stuff. But this is an exception. There's a picture book of her that showed pictures that had not been released before her death. And these are really very collectible. This one's interesting because it's by Norman Mailer. And so you've got a lot. It is a pictorial, but here you go with her in 1950 when she is just getting discovered. So this book is definitely something that I used to collect Marilyn Monroe stuff, and this is $29, and that's actually a pretty good price for that book, I think.
That was her personal copy, because a few years ago for her birthday, I got her the same edition signed by Norman Mailer.
Seriously? Oh, wow. How cool. What's a signed Norman Mailer copy worth?
About, I want to say 10 years ago, I paid $150 for it.
You paid $150 10 years ago for the signed copy? Yeah. Oh, that's great.
That was when he was still alive, so I assume it's gone.
I assume it has too. Yeah, that's one person that, you know, some people, it seems like the stars who die young remain immortal and continue to be sought after in retrospect. Oh, yes.
Is that in perfect shape?
Let's take a look at this. This is Mary Hadley. And this is made in Louisville, Kentucky. And Mary Hadley went out of business last year, and an investor in Louisville is going to revive it. So it's supposed to come back this year. But this is the cornflower pattern, and this is one of their better patterns of dinnerware. We have friends who collect this in Washington State, who live right on the waterfront in a very fancy house. This is $68 on this piece, and I have to think that's a pretty good price, especially because we don't know yet whether they're going to revive any of these patterns or not. It's unclear at this point what will and what will not be coming back. Oh, we have somebody else, and yeah, it's a very pretty piece there. I've got it. Oh, we have another celebrity in our midst who we'll have to meet, and I hope you. Do you still have the silver bowl you showed me yesterday?
Silver bowl.
Yeah, yes.
It's in the car.
Oh, good.
Silver
Please
bowl.
bring it in, because I did a little research and I can answer your question now.
Oh, you're fantastic.
Well, this is Tiffany from Thrifting Vegas, of course.
Hi, everyone.
Who couldn't recognize that delightful accent? We had so much fun yesterday.
We did.
And you will see on her channel too. If you are not subscribed to Thrifting Vegas, I recommend it. They have amazing thrift stores here. She's been, well, tell us a little about, you told me a few days ago how you got into all of this. You've been doing this a while, and you know more than I realized about antique and vintage.
Oh, you, George. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I was born and raised in England, and in England they have what are called car boot sales, where there's a big field and everyone drives their car in. They have their for sale stuff in the boot, or the trunk, as we call it here. And they open up the trunk and they either sell from the trunk or lay out blankets and have sort of what we would term garage sale items or estate sale items laid out in the field on the blankets for sale. So I was raised doing that on the weekends, and I've always been a collector. My mum will tell you a funny story of when we used to go on European holidays, vacations on the beaches. She would be horrified because I would have a collection of little cigarette ends in my dress. But I've always collected. I've always wanted to buy a souvenir from places we visited. And can I have time for a quick? Oh, sorry. Quick, my eBay start story.
Yes.
I got started on eBay in 2002, and it started when a friend bet me that I wouldn't sell a sweatshirt left at my place by a boyfriend. It was an Oakley sweatshirt, and I put it on eBay starting at 99 cents, and it sold for $64. So after that, I was absolutely hooked, and I've been doing this ever since.
It's so cool. I am
Yeah.
so glad to see you, and especially because you have a box of my stuff in your car.
I do. Yes. Well, we filled the car yesterday, you guys.
Oh boy.
How many hours did we spend?
Oh, we closed the place. I think we were there all afternoon.
We were probably like 6 hours thrifting, and it was so fun. So fun thrifting with George.
Oh, I really enjoy doing that with you too, and I am just so excited that you're here. And we have not been into your little boutique area, so I'm going to show a little bit more of this, and then,
come on in.
I will, and yeah, and grab that bowl, and we'll talk about that too.
I'll do that.
Because
Perfect.
what you thought was true usually. So we're going to look at yours again and see if that's the case. So you'll have that to look forward to, folks. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. All right, well, let's take a look at the rest of this space. And actually, we're a little more free to walk around now. So I'm going to highlight the things that are more up the vintage alley that I know about. I like the painted wicker tray. This is actually 1950s or 60s, older than it looks. And it's $24, which I think is just a big decorative piece. We're seeing more people putting these sorts of things in kitchens because people are getting... They've got their farmhouse kitchen, and now they're realizing it's nice, but it doesn't have any color. So they're adding basketry and other textures and color pops. So we're seeing things like this start to sell. They've got a couple of sand timers, and sand timers are always popular. This one's $32. I have to say that is almost something I think you could double your money on with that interesting color combination. This little piece is a Weller bud piece, and it's a little bit hard to tell. At least I think it's Weller. Let's look at that mark a little bit more carefully. This is going to be from the arts and crafts era, right around 1900. So like I said, you can find real antiques in Vegas. It's not just vintage stuff. And this is actually, yes, yeah, this is a Weller line. And I just always like the depth of the painting. I believe it's Luelsa, yes. And it is priced at $26, which I think is actually very good for that. Of course, the bittersweet vase, these are just going through the ceiling. I think that this one is $120, which, you know, that's what they're going for now. And I always like them. It's really fun and interesting to me to see the prices they're getting to, because I remember when I would have paid $10 or $15 for that, and people thought I was crazy because who wants orange? Well, time goes on. The John Perry, I think, is very reasonably priced at $15. And they also have a piece down here that I've always liked. I sold this piece myself on eBay in one of my videos, and that is Wildware. And this case looks like it does open, so we're going to carefully open it and take it out here. They have 45 on this. I think I got a little bit more than that for mine. This is the Wildware mark. And Max Weil was a ceramicist in California in the 1930s and 40s. And I just always like this as head vases go. You know, this is the American ones were early. They didn't have the pearl jewelry like the Japanese ones did later. This is how they were done. And this is one of the more elaborate ones. I've always thought this piece honestly should sell for about double the prices that it gets. So this might be something to look for as head vases are becoming more popular again. I'm going to go ahead and put that back. And we'll take a look real quickly at a few other things in the space here. Enamelware from the 70s definitely becoming more popular. This is a California artist by the name of Simone. And you can see that on the back. I like the giraffes. Sasha Brastoff really popularized this when he came back and had his comeback. he did a lot of enamelware, and a lot of other companies got involved around the same time. And this is fun. I'm used to seeing this stuff in Washington, but we are in Las Vegas, so we see Asian influences here too. I'm going to leave it down there, but it is lacquerware. And these pieces were very inexpensive when new. If they were not stored well, they would peel and chip and fall apart. And so because of that, we don't see them in very good shape anymore. So, and then this I liked. I have had the cocktail shaker for this many times. I have never actually seen the ice bucket before. And they have $30 on it, which I think is pretty reasonable for what it is and as hard as it is to find. Barware is very collectible now. The cocktail shaker in this goes for more than 30. So I think that I think there's some stuff in here. And I'm curious to see what there is elsewhere. I haven't really... I'm sorry now? Oh, yes. While we're walking out here, I wanted to also mention, if you are new to me, please check out my main channel, The Antique Nomad, because that is the place that I do most of my content. I do 2 videos and I premiere, and you can join us in chat on Mondays and Wednesdays. And in that one, I'm able to chat with you directly because my hands are free and I can actually be there and communicate directly with you. So please join us for that. It's a lot of fun. I know a lot of you are already there, but for those of you who aren't, well, here's your chance. Okay. I'm going to just set this down behind the counter. I like that one. Oh,
I'd love to have had you see maybe next time.
I will try to be through again. Believe me, I'm having a lot of fun here, and it's so great to have a community of people to come see. So yes, I'll be back definitely.
Nice meeting
It was so good to meet you.
Yeah, I'm out of here. I got to run to my wife.
Well, I had a lot of fun with this, and I will continue to watch the channel. If you haven't seen his channel, Sunny Las Vegas. This is
Sunny
the guy.
Las Vegas, and also Mikey Bags of Money.
Mikey Bags of Money. Yep. Very good.
Nice
Very nice to see you. All right. So, yes. Well, I'm ready when you are. We're going to see Thrifting Vegas's space here next, I believe, unless she's caught up. In the meantime, we can go over here, and we'll show you a couple of things here. She'll get here. Yes.
I got a present from Danny, and it's so very
time management for mortals. Yes, 4,000 weeks. That's about how many I need in a year.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly true.
Yeah, that's very funny. Very, very nice of her. And a little bit of is that a veiled criticism?
It's much needed suggestion.
Support. Okay, I see. We'll take it that way.
Right.
Well, show me where you are here.
I have this very first boot that I actually brought your box and the piece.
Oh, let's look at the piece first, actually. Yeah. Tiffany showed me this yesterday, and the question was whether this is Potosi, and because it's by Raymore. Oh, it's nice and chilled. It's been in the car. So Raymore did these, and she said, well, isn't that a BIT? Doesn't that mean Potosi? And I was not sure, so I wanted to look up before I said something I didn't really know for certain. Generally speaking, that is true. And in your case, yes, this is a Potosi piece because it's got the BIT mark. Now, there were sometimes that they used letter codes that had to do with the artist, the specific designer, rather than Potosi was a company. I think that this might be Aldo Landi who worked for them, but I don't know that for absolute certain. Sometimes they would just have the artist name, and they also sourced from other companies. And so sometimes you'll see other companies' 3-digit codes, but you are correct in this case that this is a Potosi. You got to, and tell us how much you've thrifted this for.
I'm so excited. I just think I want to say it was $3.99.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Well, it's a beautiful piece. And these silver glazes were hard to do. We saw gold, and we were just talking about gold glazes on things and how that was a fairly new thing in the 60s. Well, we see silver glaze really in the early 70s. Jaru in California does it. We see Blue Mountain Pottery doing it in the 1990s. It just wasn't easy to do the metallic glazes and have them adhere right to the ceramics. So I think it's a really neat piece. When I tried to look for values for you, I couldn't find anything that had a silver metallic
I couldn't
glaze.
find anything
And
either.
I looked in 2 or 3 different sources. So I think you have something really good. And it's nice too because it's not an ashtrays are great, people collect them, but this isn't an ashtray, it's a bowl, and that's nice
It's like a,
because
is it a console bowl, do you
I
think?
think
Trinket console?
maybe trinkets, maybe I wouldn't dog bowl. Well, yes, if you have a
Is it
very
food safe?
yes, exactly. If you have a very fancy dog, maybe, and probably not food safe, I would guess. But you know, I mean, maybe wrapped candy or something in it. I'm not sure exactly what they would have used it for,
Thank you so
but
much
it's so cool.
for taking the time.
Oh, it's a great
Take
piece.
this for just a second.
I sure
I'm gonna
will.
get you a mic.
Okay.
Okay, so well, so we are going to show the lovely Tiffany because sunny Las Vegas is star raising. Laura Caldwell may be able to help her with more info. Well, you know Laura, you met
I
Laura.
already asked Laura and she didn't know.
Laura didn't know. Yeah, yeah.
And she suggested you.
Yes, yeah. We all. That's one nice thing in this community is we all try to help each other out. So
Right.
we're going to go ahead and mic Tiffany so that she can be heard properly because she has that mellifluous accent that I don't possess. Well, that's the thing. I know if you've seen me kind of hovering around people, it's because my mic is here and I want to make sure people can hear, but now I don't have to lurch over you. So
Perfect.
very nice.
I'm really excited because if you watch that video on my channel, I almost missed it. I almost didn't get it.
Really?
And I walked away and then I came back. Luckily, it was still there along with another piece that is an ashtray. So that's
fantastic.
It's exciting. Well, yay. Thank you.
That's really
Let's
good.
Pop it here.
Well, and when she says she missed it, that's hard to believe because she is the most meticulous shopper. She really looks at everything and she really studies everything. And I think that's why her channel is so interesting. If you haven't subscribed to Thrifting Vegas, one of the reasons to do it is that she really takes her time. And so she leaves no stone unturned. It's not like she just goes to the things that she always notices and recognizes. She will introduce you to new things as she has me watching her videos just because she really takes her time. And they're fortunate because they're in Vegas and the thrift stores are really good here because everybody comes from somewhere else and then they change up what they're doing. Some people move here and don't like it and move away and they leave their stuff behind. Some people love it and they retire here and then all their stuff stays here and their family are far away. So you get the turnover here.
Yeah, it's quite a transient town, as George says. So we get so much in and out, people leaving stuff and moving on. And then it's curious because sometimes they come right back.
Yes.
There's something about Vegas that is...
If it gets in your blood, it gets in your blood. My sister keeps talking about how she really wants to come back to Vegas and she really wants to get back here. And I have a hunch that she will someday, but her husband won't let her right now. So, yes.
Yeah, if you like heat, it's the place to be.
Yes, well, this time of year, I'm all for that. And I think a lot of our viewers would be too, because a lot of them are snowed in today. So,
oh, goodness me.
Yes, I know.
Wow.
I know the S word. Ugh. Anyway, show us what you have.
Well, these two curios here are items that Danny and I thrifted together. They are joint items.
Ownership.
Joint ownership. We either went to estate sales or yard sales together and acquired the whole collection, helping a few ladies out or choosing together, which is always fun. So we sort of pool our money to purchase the items and then split the profit, which is quite fun.
Oh, yes, that is nice.
It's funny because we each own actually one of the physical curio cabinets too from our days at the fantastic vintage market. We had a booth together.
Oh, yes, I saw
last
you do
year.
that. Yes,
Yeah. It just didn't quite work out for us. It wasn't the right fit.
But hey, you needed the cabinets. It turned out to be worth.
Exactly. Morphed into something amazing here.
Oh, that's great. And I really like this piece. This is Schumann and it's Dresden. And so you'll see that the flowers are all hand painted. It's a 20th century piece, but Dresden China is quite fine. And I have to say $45 is a very reasonable price on that. I mean, that almost seems like something you could sell on eBay and do substantially more on. So
possibly, right.
Very
As
fair
you
with
can
that.
see, though, we have mucho stuff.
Right, exactly. Yes. I'm sorry. Let's see the picture that I am not grasping.
Silver
Oh, behind the Silvercrest. I did not see that. That's a Villery and Bach piece, and it's very modernist. Villery and Bach has been around for, gosh, 120 years or more. But this is one of their later pieces. They do a lot of dinnerware. It's a very fine porcelain, and actually the Alba pattern is very nice because it's very clean and very modernist. And because it's white, you don't have to worry if you're concerned about lead in glazes. White is your safe bet. I know, but I'm re-merchandising. I can't help myself.
Thank you for organizing. Yes, yes. Perfect.
Yes.
Anything else like this?
Oh, that's
same
another John
thing?
Perry. Yep. Zeno is pointing out another John Perry. It seems like you have a lot of that here, and I really like
They
it.
sell well, yeah.
They do sell
They
well.
do.
It's interesting to me too. It must be because you get a lot of people who move from the coast here because there is so much nautical and sea life, and I'm like, but there's no water here.
Right, that's true. I actually learned about John Perry from Yvonne, Thrifty Rich in
Yes.
Colorado. She collects unique John Perry pieces.
Yes.
So she turned me on to those, and now I do pick them up whenever I see them because they do sell really well. They're the ceramic piece. They are ceramic, right, George, on burl wood.
On the burl, yes.
Yes.
Yes, and you know, the interesting thing about it to me is that I was aware of him because of it's popular in Florida as well, and I'd been buying and selling for a while because they do, again, sea life and flamingos and things like that. And then when she came out with her video on it, she mentioned that she met him, or not met him, but talked to him.
Oh, right.
And I said, could you please get him to make a list of what his discontinued pieces are? Because some of the stores I'm in wouldn't let me bring it in because they said, well, it's not old, it's still in production. And I said, no,
okay.
some of this is discontinued. So we're hoping we can get some scholarship on that for those of us who are limited in age if we're just doing antiques and vintage, because we know some of it. And we feel like that's a clue for collectors too, because if we can figure out what things are out of production, we've seen it with Rinconada, the little ceramic animals. They've popped up in value if they're not produced anymore.
They have.
I see Swanky Swigs. I don't know why I'm so fascinated with these. They were just little jelly glasses that, oh, that only goes one way. Let me move my junk. They were just little jelly glasses that Kraft would have made with these great little patterns on them. And then they would come with cheese or jam or that sort of thing. And yes, $9.99 with the little cornflower again. We're seeing a lot of cornflower here today. And then these are very pretty. And I think that, again, with the gray interiors, we're going to see a lot of black. Who did these? Western Germany. Ah, okay. Yeah, again, Western Germany, the wall fell 30 years ago now. So Western Germany is truly in the realm of antique and vintage at this point, if you see things with the Western German mark.
I do like the shape of those. They're very streamlined.
I do too. They're very balanced also. They feel good in your hand. And, oh gosh, and the little Chinese figures. Well, anyway, I'm slowing us down. Show us inside.
What is the glass thing
at
the bottom?
I believe it's a
menorah.
Menorah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a menorah with stacked glass. And you know, this stacked glass is a relatively recent thing, but you see stacked lucite from the 70s. And I do think that's going to be a future collectible for the vintage folks.
But it's a different style because the single is offset.
Is offset, yes, exactly.
Okay.
All right, we're going to venture in and see what all you have. Oh, first thing I see is macrame. Macrame. And macrame is coming back. It really is. I'm seeing new pieces being made, and but you know this is old because look at the colors.
Absolutely, yeah. Very 70s, aren't they?
Very 70s. And what huge planter would you have had to have to sit in the middle of this?
Right? It is a massive thing. I think you would have had to have an enormous bowl with maybe spider plants with the trailing little ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that.
They're saying people are starting to do house plants again because they want to bring, I think a lot of people were really isolated indoors the last few years and they miss being able to go out. And so they're bringing nature indoors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, yes. For you folks who have just joined us, I know a bunch of you jumped over from the other channel. We will go back and answer comments that you make in the chat because, or if you leave comments for this video, I will make sure I answer all of them probably this evening. It's just there's so many of you and we want to make sure we take advantage of the opportunity to have the folks show us what they've got. So So please keep chatting and please keep commenting, but we may not be able to respond immediately, but we will respond.
Perfect.
All
well,
right.
Come on in.
Yes.
So my pricing was, what happened was many of my items came over from the fantastic vintage market booth, and rent was a little bit high. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, in here, because rent is so reasonable, is do just a slash on the prices. So if by chance you see anything you're interested in, do contact me with an offer. Prices are by no means firm. So
yes, and is it just Thrifting Vegas at
Gmail?
Gmail.
It's thriftingvegas.tiffany@gmail.com.
Okay, very good. Yeah, because I see some neat things in here. I just sold a large version of these. They're called Springer something, and I never can remember the name in Dutch.
It's like speculous,
something like that. Yes, yes.
Cookie molds. Yes.
Yeah, the cookie molds.
They've sold many of them.
I got one and it sold immediately.
Yep.
And there was a whole stack. It was when I was shopping with Jocelyn and Dagny in Pennsylvania. I should have brought the whole that crazy lamp lady in Flying Pig Thrifts. And there was. That sounds right, and I think she would know. Verna, nice to see you. She's down in South America. Nice to have you with us. Yeah, I should have brought the whole set. So
right, yeah, they're nice. They're really fun. They just add a whimsical touch to your display.
And this is very, again, marble's coming back in, and this is faux, of course, but it seems to me that these were popular in the late 70s and early 80s.
Yes.
And I just love that color.
They're actually for tissues. I wasn't sure when I found it, but you take the tissues
out of the
box, pop them there, and then this serves as your lid. So
yes, and it just goes down as that goes down.
Really fun.
Now, these are neat. These look like they're old black and white photo prints, and this looks like it is.
I believe they're the Swiss Alps, and I love the postcards, but my favorite part is the little handwritten descriptions on them. That's what really sold it for me.
Yes, so you know where you are, because they're lovely scenes, but I've not been to the Swiss Alps, so I wouldn't know better. Oh my goodness, just lots of fun stuff. Show us more.
Let's just keep going, and whatever catches your eye. I love glass personally, so I always pick up art glass. We've got a penguin up here, some Fenton.
I have to admit, I do love the glass too, but the thing that's drawing my eye for some reason is the octopus. What's the story about that?
I think that's just a modern piece, and I think I acquired that in a bundle purchase. It's nothing, just a modern piece, I think.
Coastal
Life. Yeah, but he's just really fun.
It reminds me a lot of Modigliani and some of that stuff from the early 70s, where you have that very big graphic print that spills over and the image is off the side of the plate. And oh, that's fun.
It looks like a beautiful hand-drawn image from the old illustrations.
Yes.
But it's just been transferred. I believe it's sort of a silvery
again, yes.
Overlay. Yeah.
Well, and silver, with all these gray interiors, I have to think that silver is a way to brighten things up a little bit.
Exactly right. So over here we have a lot of Christmas.
Yes, and I see you're having a sale.
Yes, 25% off all Christmas. We've got Jim Shore over here.
And Jim Shore's been being made since the 80s and 90s. So there are definitely pieces that are out of production. I think this one is a little more recent because it's got so much more color, which I frankly prefer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's electric.
It's battery. Yeah, it's a battery operated little flicker light.
Oh, my mother had these coasters in the 1970s or early 80s. I remember them well.
Yeah, coasters are another thing that sells really, really well for me.
Yeah, they do for me too. I get them whenever I see them because the people I know are collectors and they want to protect their furniture. So they're actually going to use those things.
Exactly.
And I know this was a modern piece, but I noticed this when Danny did the filming, and it's so much fun.
España?
Yeah, España, yes. But You know, and it's not a very old piece. It's from Macy's, but in our town, Macy's is gone. So
Ours too. Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
So you know, things pass quickly these days.
Right.
Oh, the decoy. Decoys are another thing that are supposed to be starting to make a comeback, and I noticed this one has glass eyes, and it looks like one that was probably done. Would you think maybe 70s, 80s when the preppy thing took off?
I would think so. I would think so. Do you remember they had the kits?
Yes.
They had. I'm wondering if this was
Oh,
one of the
this might have been
kits.
one of the kits at the time.
Yeah,
right.
they would include the body and the head, and then the eyes came on a stem, like wire stem,
right.
and you had to do that.
You
And
had
I'm
to
not sure why
install them.
you
And,
installed them yourself.
yes,
Exactly.
that's right. Yeah,
Yep.
in the old days, things had to be assembled.
Right, right. You had a little instruction page, and
Oh,
you
look at the
did it
graphics on
yourself.
this. 50 light set. Yes, this looks like something out of my childhood.
Straight what?
Straight line.
Yes,
Yes.
a little politically incorrect there.
Merry Midget. Oh, yes, that's right.
Yes.
We wouldn't say that anymore. And I think severing Santa's head and putting it in the tree is verboten.
What do you think of this, George?
Oh, I like that. Oh, I hadn't seen that.
Glass.
Yeah, Italian brass and glass. Oh, that's interesting. It almost looks like a touch, but I don't think they did that at that time.
No, I'm not sure it's
Probably not plugged in. Oh, that's very cute. I like the hurricane shade though, and I like the clear bulbs. And I imagine they're probably a flame flicker when you turn them on.
Yes. Yep.
That's pretty. Oh, this is another thing that's on point. Artist Edition 1986. People ask what's coming back from the 80s. Well, look at the high contrast. I mean, this is decorating as I see it coming. And I'm noticing that gallery walls are still a thing.
Yes.
And this seems like a fairly important artist. I feel like I recognize the name, and I noticed you have a pretty good price on him. Did you find him or some information out?
The price was actually recommended by Laura Caldwell. When she was in town. I found the piece in the Charleston Antique Mall when we shopped together. And she said it was quite a sought after piece.
Yeah,
recommended a high price.
I'm pretty sure that Hackett is a good artist, and that's interesting that Laura recognized it right away. She's so good with her mid-century designers.
She's fantastic.
She really has that top of mind knowledge that
Right.
you know, she's a nice resource to have.
Yes, she is, and a lovely, lovely friend.
Yeah, she is a very warm and gracious person in person. I think
I love those, of course.
I love this color. Yes, yes. Zeno is a big fan of 1970s lamps and this that light in the base and have this sort of balustrade effect. And I have to say, with this coin spot and the azure blue, I really think these are pretty neat too.
And the original shades.
The original terry cloth shade. And funnily enough, this nubby fabric, they said that probably this year, people again are looking for textures in houses, and that this is going to be a thing that people look for. So the timing is right on these.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, I love those too.
Yeah, I do too. And looks like they are $275 for the pair. And the clock here, this is interesting because the case looks like 1920s, but I don't know what to think of the face, because it looks right, but it's so shiny. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. This was another piece that Laura recommended when we were shopping together.
Mm-hmm.
And she just said, grab it.
Because of the graphic nature of it.
Yeah, the mid-century nature. And I did find one other one online. Unfortunately, I can't actually get it to work, so it's going to need some attention.
Well, sometimes also, is it that it doesn't seem to wind, or does it just not keep running?
I haven't found how to wind it yet. I think it's missing its...
Oh, it might be missing a couple of weights, because you pulled the chains and there should be another counterbalance that's going. So you may need additional weights. But a lot of times too, when you move a clock from a place it's been to a new place, it has to be set by a professional, because it has to be leveled just so. They can be really finicky about how they run. So sometimes it's like, and that's actually a clue for people who like clocks. I learned this in Florida the hard way, because I had an estate sale, and a fellow came in who was a collector of grandfather and grandmother clocks, and he saw the piece, and I said, oh yeah, it doesn't seem to work. And he said, oh, okay. And then he sent me a lovely picture of it in his house working because he knew how to level it.
Oh, wonderful.
And so he got a great deal. And I
That's
learned something.
good to know. Good to know.
Oh, and I see, okay, the Lefton holly and berry. And I wanted to add, have you had other pieces of this, and how does it do for you?
It takes the right collector.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like it, and it's
yeah.
so Christmas, but it's a very specific, that dark green and that sort of almost like tomato soup red seemed like something that was really popular together around 1970, as I recall, because
Yes.
when I was a kid in kindergarten, they made us sell these Christmas candles, and they were those exact shades. And the reason I ask is because I have a gal in Washington who wants to give me some to sell for her, and I've been debating whether I want to take it on.
Interesting.
So
You have to be a little bit careful because there are many pieces of mold ceramic, like Holland mold,
that
and
look alike.
that have this very similar design.
Because this is
so-
right when the ceramic Christmas trees and all that were being
Exactly.
made.
So you
Mhm.
have to turn it over and make sure it has the Lefton
Mark on it and
mark
is what
and
it
number.
really says
Yeah,
it is.
Exactly
Yes.
right.
And I see
Yeah.
a nice piece of Belique shamrock, which I always have liked.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Reuven glass, another 80s thing that I really think is worth picking up. Have you had
I
other pieces
love-
of it?
I have a lady who she buys almost all the Reuven that I find.
Really interesting.
And interestingly enough, I was thrifting the morning before we met, and I found a couple of little saucers, Reuven.
Oh, interesting. Yes, I have a set that actually is made in Israel, but has that same type of effect. And
I have
you've
that
seen the
set.
Israeli
Mhm.
pieces.
It's-
Mhm.
yep. It fooled me too because I thought it was
Reuven.
You thought it was Reuven, and it wasn't. Yeah, I was
Different.
surprised because the pattern was just a little different. And then there's also a third company in Canada that was called Art Deco that made the same thing, but it's this. I don't know exactly how they got this effect on the glass, but it's almost like a wash.
I
of
believe they
color.
paint it first, and then they fire it at a temperature
Hot
to
enough to
allow
melt
the
it,
to
melt the
the
paint.
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay,
that
that
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Very good. See, we all learn from each other. I love that about this business. Oh, very cool. Okay,
Those
well,
bottles at the bottom. See those? I recognize those.
the bottles.
Big colored. They're way down.
Oh, yes. Those were, yeah, I remember these too. That seemed like something, another 80s thing that I think is coming back with the different colored bottle canisters. And it's nice because they seal hermetically. They were made to do that. So it will actually
Yeah.
keep things in them fresh.
Rabbits. Those are interesting.
Yeah, these are fun. These are West Elm. They're fairly recent. I've got to say, I think West Elm makes really interesting design. And again, because I do antiques and vintage, it's not something I can currently sell. But I think that and Crate and Barrel has, I think it's CB3. Some of those things are making really interesting designs. Jonathan Adler. I mean, there's things like that that I would say if you are younger and in resale, but you want to do things that are vintage, put those catalogs aside. I mean, obviously there's a market for it now because you're buying and selling it now. But if you are like, well, what's going to be a collectible of the future? Make a note of those things because I think that's going to be, the style is so good and definitely evocative of this time that it'll be the thing that people look back on and go, oh, what was it like in the 2020s? And that'll be what they look for.
What do you think of this punch bowl?
Wow. There's a lot of work to this. And who is the... Do you know who the maker
we
is?
don't think it's
actually
signed.
found
Yeah.
this at a garage sale together, and
I talked her into buying it.
yes, did. And it's quite interesting. I believe there's 17 cups, and then there's this itty
Oh, right.
bitty cup. I don't
Oh.
know if it.
I
it's
think
for
maybe
toppings
I'm
or-
thinking maybe what you did with it. Yeah, like maybe or perhaps it could have even been sugar for your, I mean, if you were doing a tea punch or something. I don't know really. It's interesting. I don't know why they would have that, but it does seem like an accessory for something else.
And the ladle is just fantastic.
You know, again, this is the stuff where it's really well made and we wish we knew more about it.
Right.
So hopefully people who are buying these things from the people making these will start to adding a little information so that we know. You know, you have a bunch of stoneware pieces that are like that.
I love stoneware and pottery. Yeah,
I do too. But I have to admit, I also love these. This one's missing the knob on the drawer.
Yep.
But I like the old coffee grinders because I do find that some people will buy them and actually use them.
Oh.
But they do make excellent decorative pieces as well.
As well, yes.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to show these because when we saw Danny's video, Zeno said, oh, I remember those. They are supers, and these are early, late 70s, early 80s, I believe. And I think they were made in Japan.
Yes.
But they all stack, and you've got your different soup bowls, and they each have their own face. So you would keep track of which was which, and you have the one with the lid. So if you wanted to keep your soup hot, I just think they're kind of fun.
There was originally 5, I believe.
5 in the stack?
Yeah, the mum had these lovely pearly earrings, and then,
I used to have that.
yeah,
Oh, so
and then there was another brother. Yep.
Oh, so
Yep.
there's a mother. Okay, I have never seen a full set then. I've never seen more than 4. So there was actually a mother that was supposed to be at the bottom
Yep.
of that. Oh, interesting.
She's off doing the laundry.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, probably mom was like, oh, I can get rid of these, but I'll keep that. Do you know anything about this artist?
I don't. I don't.
It's really interesting, the impression. I mean, it's obviously
It's fantastic.
yeah, it's military parade, but it's very impressionist, and the colors. You weren't able to find anything about
I
the
wasn't,
artist.
no, but the movement in it is
Was
what
the
sold.
texture.
Yeah, the
Yes.
texture of the knife work, and we are definitely seeing a lot of interest in anything textural right now in painting, as well as landscape paintings. And I think you were telling me you're even selling still lifes now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Oils. Yeah.
oils.
Definitely.
Yeah. So,
Definitely.
oh, very interesting. Well, thank you. This is so much fun. And I don't know what more I haven't seen of the store, but I bet there's probably another spot that I haven't been. Where is
Well, I'd
there?
love for you to look at the art wall. This is a good
I didn't get a chance.
transition.
That's right. The art wall. That was something I did want to take a look at.
I have tried to put the better pieces over here. These 2 Norman Rockwells are actual. One of them is the artist proof. And then the other one has an
Oh.
eye, and I'm not sure what the eye means.
Oh, interesting. Well, I probably is some sort of a designation for this series. We're going to hold this for a minute, and I think he's going to put a mic on you so that
okay.
we can hear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes, Danny was just saying that the Norman Rockwells, the top one is an artist proof, but that looks like probably 1950s. I mean, they were framed later because there was such a big interest in him in the 70s and 80s. And then the bottom one is number 262 of 350. And I think the eye just is a some sort of a series edition mark. I don't really know for certain. But I have to say the 2 that really attracted me,
These
yes,
guys.
were
Yeah.
these guys.
We can,
Harold Zucchini, and these are from 1950, and look how modern they are for their time. This is true mid-century modernism, and exactly at the mid-century. This one's called Mask. And do you know anything about that artist?
I don't. I mean, there is just a little bit of the original.
Modern study
label
after
here.
the original. Oh, I see. Very good. Yeah. Zusin is a listed artist, but after the original means these were a student who was doing this as a study. They're really well done.
Yeah. So I kind of guessed on my pricing,
Well, I think for an after the fact that your pricing is just about right, because I think that if these were his original serigraphs, then you'd probably looking at, oh gosh, maybe put a 0 after that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, those are a lot of fun. And
Again, it's just something I picked up because of the look, the mid-century look, and the fact, we know it's mid-century because it says 1950 on it.
yes. And then I've got to show this because there are people out there who have Thomas Kincaid. It was so popular in its time. A lot of folks who were around in the 90s are going to remember the galleries that sold but his work. He really was sort of maybe you could argue the fox print of his time.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, of course, it's a little out of step with today because it's just old enough to be old, but not really old enough to be super vintage yet. And so the prices are, a third of what they sold for new. This one has the certificate of authenticity and it's only $59.99. But I'll tell you, just like Fox, just like Parrish, just like a lot of other commercial artists, this will make a comeback at some point.
Yeah.
So
And
if
I
you
think
like
what
it,
happened too is when he died and all of his dirty laundry was aired,
it turned a lot of his
really,
collectors off.
yes. And so
Yes.
it's just now starting to come back for what it is this amazing, beautiful art.
Right, exactly. And I think that really is true. So I would say, and I'm noticing prices, they seem like they've hit a floor. I think your price is reasonable on this, and I think it's a future thing. I mean, when Patrick Nagel died, the market went out for his stuff, but then, well, of course, not right away because he died when it was still contemporary. But now Nagel is back.
Yeah, we do try to take the frames into consideration too, because sometimes you're so focused on what the art is, you forget that it's in this fabulous gold gilt frame that
And
they just
people
don't
pay
make
money
well
for
anymore.
frames, and I have
Yeah.
such a hard time with that when I do appraisals, because if someone's asking me for resale, I say, well, it depends on the taste of the buyer, and it may not get you a premium. On the other hand, if it's for insurance and somebody paid a bunch of money for the frame, if they lost the piece and bought something else, you can assume they would want to be framed the way that they like to have things framed. And in that case, yes, the frame can be more valuable than the art. I like this piece. Original painting by Krina Iankau, who I do not know, but Russian artist. Interesting. You found some information about her?
I did. I priced this quite a while ago, so I must have been able to research and find. I also have a subscription to askart.com.
Oh, yes, that's very helpful.
Yeah.
I have a subscription to Invaluable, which is a similar service. It is definitely, if you're really into art and you want to collect it, it's definitely worth getting a subscription, because if you're out in the field and you're seeing things, that will really help. I see something I really like right under my niece that I think is about to be exposed for us to see. But in the meantime,
yes,
I'm going to show you this, which is an iCard. This is an 80s version, but I love iCart, and I just think it's really neat. And then these are fun. These are from the late 40s, early 50s, and they're done basically, it's almost like claymation, this sort of animation. And I just think that those are kind of sweet and definitely of an era. But what she is exposing for us to see here is a really beautiful old store display cabinet. Where did you get that?
I got this at an auction many years ago, and I'm going to tell you, I paid $50 for it.
Wow.
And it has traveled many times with me to the various places that I've set up to sell. And unfortunately, I'm looking for somebody to help me and give her a little restoration, because she's a little wobbly. That's why we're not using her for display. But it's all original glass, the Keen Cutter. I believe this is early 1900s.
Yes. Yeah, Keen Cutter is one of the most collectible names in tools, and Barbariana.
It's got its original little brass tag on here still.
Willie Joe says, I could sell this in a minute in Twin Lakes, and that's true. I have a friend who does antique advertising who would probably love this to put in his house for a display. Emmons Hardware was the company that came up with the Keen Cutter name, so it's even got its original tag, and this would have been made in St. Louis. And with this American oak, this is going to date to right about 1900. It's got very thick counter glass, and actually, you know, maybe it needs a little bit of work in terms of you know, shoring it up, but it's all there and there's nothing broken,
original
and it's
shelves.
all original. It's got the St. Louis maker's tag in there. This is very cool. I mean, I would think that this would be, when I see things like this out in the market, I see prices like $1,500 and $2,000 on them.
$1,500 on it.
And you have $1,500 on it. Yeah. Yeah, that is absolutely, oh, that is so cool.
But I don't care if it doesn't. I'm not in a hurry because it's such a rare piece.
I wouldn't be in a hurry either, because you have a store, so you have a purpose
and
for it.
You find the countertop displays where I've never found another one that's the full showcase.
the full showcase is definitely hard to find. And oh, that's really neat. Wow. Very exciting. I've got to say, the store is fun, and you've got really interesting stuff. And, you know, I know some of you folks who were saying, well, you're going into a thrift store. Well, I really focused on the antique and vintage and the boutique part, but that's because that's what I do. But there is a whole thrift store here with a whole lot of stuff that's priced really inexpensively. And One thing I need to look for is a sweater because it's colder than I've expected in Vegas.
I bet we got you covered.
Yes, literally.
And you just found out that the blue tags are half off.
Yes, the blue tags are half off. Yes. So in a minute here, I'm going to go around and pick up the things that I have sourced, as we say. But is there anything else that you want to say about the store, or tell me, or have hidden away that we need to look at, or did I get the whole gist?
I mean, this store is just a fruition of many, many years of wanting to do something to not only support my reseller friends, and I consider anybody who's a reseller a friend. I say that widely for the community, but yet also help some nonprofits who don't have the ability to start their own thrift store, do their own kind of thing. So we have brought the best of both worlds into here.
Tell me a little about the association with the nonprofits, because I found that very interesting.
Yeah, so we are a for-profit store. So I have to pay sales tax to the city, county, and all of that. That's basically what that means. But we have, right now we have 4 different nonprofits who we've partnered with, and they drive the donations. So, and then we do a small split with them so that we get paid for what it costs, the overhead to manage all of this stuff. And then they get just a large check at the end of every month that rewards their efforts of calling to their followings, hey, donate and come shop. And then they get money for their causes without all the work.
Oh, that's great. So essentially they are a consignor with you,
yes,
and you're selling for them.
Yes.
What a great setup, because running a store is a lot of work. And as I'm sure you have no doubt, there is a lot of expense to it. There's rent and overhead and electric and staff and all the other things that you need to do. And
I just wrote an $800 check for the trash can in the back.
Yes, exactly. So to be able to do that for people, and what a wonderful thing to be able to help people who are helping other people in the process. And I just, I have such respect for what you're doing here. It's really fun. I'm also excited because I found some really cool stuff to buy.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the fun thing about it all being donated goods. I mean, I also wanted to continue to do a lot of thrifting videos and not just have to go to the Goodwills and such. And so this gives me also, that's why I'm not the one back there doing the work. I want this to be a store I can come shop in like any other store. And that's kind of what it's turning out to be. As we're going through the shelves, I'm saying, oh.
Yes, I noticed that because she was picking out in the video I saw, she was picking out for what she calls Danny's picks.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I'd take that. I'd take that. I'd take that. So it was really fun to actually get a preview before I came, and it just looks great. I'm very pleased for you and for what you're doing. And it's so great to meet you in person too.
Likewise, like I said, this is the best birthday/Christmas present ever.
Oh, well, thank you. Same here. Well, I really appreciate that. And I guess with that, I guess we'll say goodbye, everybody. This has been a lot of fun. I know you hung out with us for a long time today. Thank you so much. And let's get Tiffany over here for this too. And
you can share George too. Here. Oh, she's okay.
This is good. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. And we will see you on Thrifting Vegas. We will see you on the Niche Lady. We will see you on the Antique Nomad and the Antique Nomad Live and the Antique Nomad Shorts. And I'm sure that they probably, we're all somewhere on eBay, Instagram, whatnot, so check all of it out. You'll see us all somewhere soon. TikTok, there we go. Yeah, that's right. We do TikTok too. I don't know how we keep up on it all, but we really love bringing this stuff to you. So that's what we do. And with that, we'll say bye for now, everybody.
Bye.